Chapter 1458. Chapter 1458. Beast Core. How is this possible? The giant Tyrannosaurus would never have thought that the black dog would seize control of the heaven-devouring scepter in just 2 minutes. One must know that he had left a mark on the heaven-devouring scepter. That black dog was only a human sovereign. The colossal tyrant had the urge to vomit blood. A human sovereign actually erased the mark he left in the devouring scepter. If someone said this to him previously, he would probably call that person a fool. But this kind of thing really happened. What was terrifying was that the devouring scepter no longer belonged to him. Phew! Seeing that the Dark Emperor had taken control of the devouring scepter, Master Xingyun let out a long sigh of relief. The reason why Master Xingyun had such an expression was because the immense pressure around him had disappeared in an instant. The disappearance of the pressure meant that Master Xingyun's fighting strength had returned to its peak. In other words, Master Xingyun was fearless against the colossal tyrant again and could easily win. After all, the colossal tyrant was only a 9th grade Earth Supreme, not a half-heaven Supreme. Nothing is impossible. The Dark Emperor wrapped the devouring scepter with his tail and walked towards the colossal tyrant. A moment later, the Dark Emperor arrived before the colossal tyrant. You have 2 choices. The Dark Emperor didn't beat around the bush at all. He went straight to the point and said, "First, become my slave. Second, die." Roar. Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, the great tyrant raised its head and roared furiously. The colossal tyrant wanted to devour the Dark Emperor, but it had a lingering fear. To control the devouring scepter, it had forcefully extracted its beast core from its body and inserted it into the devouring scepter. Now that the devouring scepter was in the Dark Emperor's hands, its strength would instantly fall to rock bottom if the Dark Emperor destroyed its beast core. At that time, it might even die without a burial. What? Do you want to die? The Dark Emperor raised his brows. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. No. The giant tyrant hurriedly said, I'm willing to become your slave and listen to your orders. Are you sure? The Dark Emperor was uncertain. No matter what, the giant tyrant was a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and a peak 9th grade Earth Sovereign at that. In the Dark Emperor's opinion, if he wanted to control the big tyrant, he would definitely have to go through a lot of trouble. Who would have thought that the giant tyrant would be so spineless? Yes, the giant tyrant nodded hurriedly, fearing that the Dark Emperor would go back on his words. All right, then relax your mind. Although the Dark Emperor didn't really trust the colossal tyrant, he had to give it a chance since the colossal tyrant had put it this way. Bang! The giant tyrant suddenly sat upright on the ground and slowly relaxed its mind. Grandmaster Xingyun, be careful later. If the giant tyrant dares to do anything out of line, kill it immediately. Like the Dark Emperor, Ningyu did not trust the great tyrant either. Therefore, Ningyu secretly contacted Master Xingyun and asked him to monitor the giant tyrant. In its current state, the great Tyrannosaurus was no match for Master Nebula. Now, as expected, the colossal tyrant did not have any good intentions. Just as the Dark Emperor approached it, it suddenly opened its bloody mouth, wanting to swallow the Dark Emperor into its stomach. The colossal tyrant's idea was very simple. The heaven-devouring scepter contained its beast core, and the heaven-devouring scepter was in the hands of the Dark Emperor. As long as it swallowed the Dark Emperor and the heaven-devouring scepter together, not only would the beast core be safe, it would also be able to regain control of the heaven-devouring scepter. However, the ideal was very rich, but the reality was very harsh. Just as the colossal tyrant opened its bloody mouth, the Dark Emperor turned into an afterimage and disappeared. The Dark Emperor disappeared, but Grandmaster Xingyun appeared in front of the colossal tyrant. Bang, bang, bang. Not long ago, Grandmaster Xingyun was attacked by the colossal tyrant to the point that he could not retaliate at all. Now, Grandmaster Xingyun finally had a chance to be arrogant. His right hand started to work, and he threw out a few punches, each punch landing on the colossal tyrant's head. Pft, pft, pft. Although the colossal tyrant's head was very big, under the terrifying bombardment of Grandmaster Xingyan's punches, it still continuously spat out blood. Not long after, the colossal tyrant's head expanded again. Die. Roughly a few minutes later, Grandmaster Xingyan clenched his right fist and threw it towards the colossal tyrant's heart, along with a violent gale. Plop! Grandmaster Xingyan did not hold back in this punch. The outcome was predictable. Under Grandmaster Xingyan's terrifying attack, the colossal tyrant's heart was pierced and it fell backwards. Only at the last moment before its death did the colossal tyrant wake up. If it wasn't for its arrogance and bringing out the heaven-devouring scepter, Ningyu and the rest would be the ones dying. But it was useless now. The colossal tyrant's eyes rolled over and it died on the spot. After killing the colossal tyrant, Grandmaster Xingyan took a deep breath and the grave expression on his face slightly eased up. The colossal tyrant was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign, and the reason why he could kill it so easily was because of the Dark Emperor. Ningyu, the colossal tyrant, is a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign, and there's a terrifying energy in its body. Do you want to? Grandmaster Xingyan looked at Ningyu and said, Whoosh! Halfway through Grandmaster Xingyan's words, the Dark Emperor's heaven-devouring scepter flew out and landed before the colossal tyrant. Sizzle! Sizzle! A terrifying devouring energy gushed out from the heaven-devouring scepter. Practically in an instant, the colossal tyrant that was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign was only left with a layer of skin. This sudden change left Ningyu and Grandmaster Xingyan speechless. The heaven-devouring scepter was truly terrifying to be able to devour even a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign so quickly. Dark Emperor, I can give you the heaven-devouring scepter, but you can't possibly leave nothing for us, right? Ningyu stared at the Dark Emperor as he sourly said, don't be anxious. I can give you the beast core of the colossal tyrant. The Dark Emperor was a little awkward as he flipped the heaven-devouring scepter and took out a beast core and threw it towards Ningyu. Boom! Catching the beast core, Ningyu was speechless. This is the beast core of the colossal tyrant. Why is there only less than 5% of the energy in it? Ningyu waved the beast core in his hand and said, If it wasn't for our help, how could you obtain the heaven-devouring scepter? Aren't you being a little insincere by doing this? Who are we? How is this insincere? The Dark Emperor started to play dumb. I will be going into seclusion. Unless it's a life-and-death situation, don't contact me. As he spoke, the Dark Emperor brought the heaven-devouring scepter and his silhouette flashed, entering the interspatial ring. After entering the interspatial ring, a voice resounded in Ningyu's ears. Chapter 1459. Chapter 1459. Chapter 1459, 9th grade Human Sovereign. You want to fight 10 alone? I'll beat you until you don't know where you're going. Ningyu's mind sank into the spatial ring, wanting to teach the Dark Emperor a lesson on the spot. Don't. No matter how strong I am, I won't hit you. Our relationship is very strong. I'll hit anyone but you. The Dark Emperor anxiously begged for mercy. Although the Dark Emperor had the heaven-devouring scepter, and the heaven-devouring scepter had devoured the big tyrant, the Dark Emperor had almost no chance of winning against Ningyu. Firstly, the heaven-devouring scepter had absorbed too much energy and was currently digesting it, so it could not unleash much of its power. He himself had also secretly devoured a lot of energy and urgently needed time to recuperate, so he could not fight with Ningyu. How long will your closed-door cultivation take? Ningyu did not really want to fight the Dark Emperor, so he asked. It's hard to say. At least 10 days to half a month, and at most 1 to 3 months. The Dark Emperor shook his head and said, To tell you the truth, when I come out of seclusion, my cultivation will at least be at the Earth's supreme stage. You'd better raise your cultivation to the Earth Supreme stage. Don't let me advance to the Earth Supreme stage while you're still at the mortal sovereign stage. Ningyu did not want to waste words with the Dark Emperor here, so he directly exited the spatial ring. I carefully observed this place just now and discovered that after the death of the big tyrant, this place has returned to normal. Seeing Ningyu appear, Master Xingyan said in a deep voice, "Let's leave now or stay here." "Wait a little longer. I want to devour the beast core of the big tyrant." After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, "Although the beast core of the big tyrant only has less than half of its energy left, it is still very useful to me." "All right, I'll protect you." Master Xingyan nodded, then took a few steps back and looked around vigilantly. Although this place was already very safe after the death of the big tyrant, it was always good to be careful. With Master Xingyan protecting him, Ningyu did not have any worries. He directly sat cross-legged on the ground and directly threw the beast core of the big tyrant into his mouth. Kacha! The beast core shattered, and a terrifying energy surged into Ningyu's consciousness. Although the beast core of the giant tyrant only had less than 5% of its energy left, this amount of energy was enough to make Ningyu feel a little overwhelmed. Spirit transformation art. With a thought, Ningyu hurriedly activated the spirit transformation technique and began to cultivate. Under the guidance of the spirit transformation art, the energy within the beast core was quickly refined in Ningyu's sea of consciousness. Too slow. Ningyu frowned slightly. At this rate, he estimated that it would take him a few days to completely absorb the energy in the beast core. Suppress him. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu gathered all of his peak 8th grade soul force in his sea of consciousness and controlled the energy inside the beast core. After that, Ningyu made a series of hand seals and recalled the cultivation methods of the 7th and 8th stages of the spirit transformation method in his mind. This time, Ningyu wanted to directly cultivate the spirit transformation method to the 8th stage. For the current Ningyu, the 6th stage of the spirit transformation method was no longer enough to support him to quickly recover his vitality. Only by cultivating the spirit transformation method to the 8th stage could he maintain that rapid recovery speed. Chi. Although he had cultivated the 7th and 8th stages of the spirit transformation method in his previous life, Ningyu still felt the pressure when cultivating again in this life. Only when there was pressure would there be motivation. Ningyu was not discouraged. He closed his eyes slightly and began to wholeheartedly immerse himself in cultivating the spirit transformation method. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. After half an hour of all-out cultivation, Ningyu finally cultivated the spirit transformation method to the 7th stage. Again, Ningyu was not satisfied with the 7th stage of the spirit transformation method. He closed his eyes slightly and began to cultivate again. Another half an hour passed. Cultivating the 7th stage of the spirit transformation method required half an hour. Half an hour was not enough for the 8th stage. Ningyu continued to cultivate. It was not until an hour had passed that Ningyu let out a long breath. There was a hint of excitement between his brows. 1.5 hours to cultivate the spirit transformation method from the 7th stage to the 8th stage. Even in his previous life, he could not compare to this speed. Devour. After cultivating the spirit transformation method to the 8th stage, Ningyu immediately activated the spirit transformation method and began to devour and refine the energy in his consciousness. As he continued to devour, the energy in Ningyu's consciousness was decreasing at a visible rate. At this rate, Ningyu would be able to devour all the energy in 3 to 4 hours at most. Time continued to pass. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Bang! After an hour of devouring and refining, a dull sound suddenly came from Ningyu's consciousness. A late-stage, 8th stage, human supreme. In an hour, his cultivation had advanced from a mid-stage 8th stage human supreme to a late-stage 8th stage human supreme. It would not be an exaggeration to describe this speed as terrifying. He actually advanced to a late-stage 8th stage human supreme. Feeling the aura emitted from Ningyu, Master Xing Yun frowned slightly. He was a little shocked. He had founded the Nebula Academy for many years and had seen many geniuses. However, he had never met a peerless genius like Ningyu. There is still a lot of energy in the giant tyrant's beast core. If Ningyu completely devours it, I wonder what level his cultivation will reach. Master Xing Yun observed the changes around him while staring at Ningyu. He wanted to see what level Ningyu could reach. Bang! Another half an hour passed. Another dull sound came from Ningyu's consciousness. A peak 8th stage human supreme. Bang! Another half an hour passed. A dull sound came from Ningyu's consciousness for the third time. Different from the previous 3 times, the dull sound this time was loud. A 9th stage human supreme. Ningyu advanced from a peak 8th stage human supreme to a 9th stage human supreme. I'm a 9th stage human supreme now. I wonder if I can reach the peak 9th stage human supreme. Master Xing Yun's expression was extremely solemn. If an ordinary middle phase 8th grade sovereign were to obtain the beast core of the great tyrant beast, they would probably be able to reach the pinnacle 9th grade sovereign realm. However, Ningyu was a freak, so Master Xing Yun was not sure if Ningyu could advance to a 9th stage human supreme. But Ningyu was a freak, so Master Xing Yun was not sure if Ningyu could advance to a 9th stage human supreme. Whoosh! After advancing to a 9th stage human supreme, Ningyu let out a long breath and slowly opened his eyes. Sensing the changes in his sea of consciousness, Ningyu showed some excitement between his brows. The giant tyrant was really a timely help. If not for its beast core, Ningyu would not have been able to advance to a 9th stage human supreme in such a short time. Yin Yang Palm. Although he had advanced to a 9th stage human supreme, Ningyu was not very satisfied with his strength. With his current strength, he could easily kill a 2nd stage Earth Supreme, but he could only contend with a 3rd stage Earth Supreme. If he encountered a powerful 3rd stage Earth Supreme, he could only regret it. Therefore, Ningyu was not in a hurry to leave. He wanted to practice the Netherworld Samsara Palm. Yin Yang Palm was the 10th move of the Netherworld Samsara Palm. It was extremely powerful. Chapter 1460. Yin Yang Palm. Yin Yang Palm. Ningyu wasn't an indecisive person. He briefly recalled the cultivation method of the Yin Yang Palm in his mind. Then he waved his hands repeatedly and began to cultivate. Yin in the left hand, Yang in the right. The power of Yin Yang Palm was, in a sense, countless times stronger than Universe Palm. The reason why Ningyu didn't use the Universe Palm during this period of time was that the power of the Universe Palm was too weak to deal with his current opponents. But Yin Yang Palm was different. Yin Yang Palm was the 10th palm of Netherworld Samsara Palm, and its power was several times greater than the previous 9 palms. If Ningyu could successfully cultivate it, it wouldn't be a problem for his strength to double. Puchi. While Ningyu was fully focused on cultivating Yin Yang Palm, outside the stone room where the killing formation was, the palace master suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, her face extremely pale. Palace master, are you all right? Fairy Yin, she hurriedly asked when she saw the palace master's condition. That mysterious expert from 100 Flowers Palace has started to attack my body. I need to use the soul attraction technique as soon as possible. Wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, the palace master said solemnly, think of a way to contact Ningyu and get them to break the killing formation as soon as possible. No, this stone door is very special. My soul power can't penetrate it. Fairy Yin, she shook her head, her expression extremely grave. Use brute force to break it open. The palace master said coldly, displaying the viciousness of a palace master. Fairy Yun, she nodded, then clenched her right hand into a fist and punched the stone door. Bang! A terrifying force spread out with the stone door as the center. But very quickly, this force was absorbed by the stone door and turned into nothingness. 100-flower fan. Fairy Yin, she seemed to have expected this result. She flicked her wrist, and the 100-flower fan appeared in her hand. Swish, swish, swish. She fanned the 100-flower fan repeatedly, and several gusts of yuan qi swept out, abruptly blasting at the stone door. Bang! Bang! What happened next caused Fairy Yin Shi and the palatial mistress' hearts to sink to rock bottom. Several gusts of yuan qi slammed into the stone door. However, the result was not satisfactory. After the origin qi blasted against the stone door, it did not last long before it was absorbed by the stone door and turned into nothingness. Puchi! Such a situation caused the palace master to spit out another mouthful of scarlet-red blood, and her countenance grew even paler. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, the palace mistress of the 100-Flowers Palace gritted her teeth and said, "I don't care any more. Go out and preside over the situation. No matter what, you have to buy me 3 days. I know that this is very unfair to you, but whether the Flower Palace can be taken back completely depends on." At first, the palatial lord was filled with grief and indignation. She even believed that Fairy Yin she would definitely die. But soon, she discovered some clues. Rumble! A terrifying voice came from behind the stone door. Kacha! Then the stone door shattered, and 2 figures dashed out from within. Ningyu, Master Xingyan? Both the palace mistress and Fairy Yin, she revealed surprised expressions when they saw the 2 figures that had appeared abruptly. They thought that Master Xingyan and Ning you had been trapped inside. But who would have imagined that they would actually come out at such a critical moment? Most importantly, they'd even activated the core of the formation and activated the Peerless Slaughter Formation. So long as the Peerless Slaughter Formation was activated, then with the current resources of Giant Shield City, it would be able to easily last for 3 days. Palace Mistress of the 100-Flowers Palace. That's an entirely different matter. I spent a few 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals to activate the Peerless Slaughter Formation. Once you reclaim the Flower Palace, I want 4 treasures within the treasure vault, and it'll cost a few 100,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Ning Yu went straight to the point and didn't waste his breath. No problem. The palace mistress nodded and said, "I'll start executing soul attraction right now. Is there anything I should pay attention to?" After all, it was Ning Yu who taught her soul attraction, so it wasn't wrong to ask Ning Yu's opinion before executing it. "There's one thing I need to pay attention to." Ning Yu's expression was solemn as he said, "After you succeed, you must kill your way into the Flower Palace within 3 days and snatch your main body. Otherwise, I'm afraid that mysterious expert will harm you." "I know that," the palace mistress said. "If there's nothing else, let's go out first. You can execute soul attraction here." After saying that, Ning Yu and Master Xing Yan walked out together. Seeing Ning Yu's departing figure, the palace mistress of the 100-Flowers Palace was a little dumbfounded. "You really believe me? After all, I've never executed the soul attraction technique. What if something goes wrong? What should I do?" However, Ning Yu and Master Xingyan had already left, so it wasn't convenient for the palace mistress to ask too many questions. "Fairy Yin Shi, go out and take charge of the situation. Also, seal this place for me. Unless Ning Yu comes, no one else can enter." The palace mistress of the 100-Flowers Palace shook her head, then sat down cross-legged and said in a deep voice, "Once the Peerless Killing Formation is activated, unless a supreme expert appears, there's no way to open it within 3 days. You must tightly shut the city gate. You must not open it no matter what." Understood. Fairy Yin, she nodded, then bid farewell to the palace mistress and left with the 100 Flowers fan. Soul attraction, I hope it works. After Fairy Yin Shi and the others left, the palace mistress of the 100 Flowers palace sighed and murmured, "Success or failure depends on this. If I don't become a king, I'll become a bandit." Swoosh! Swoosh! Ning Yu didn't know what the palace mistress of the 100 Flowers palace was thinking, nor did he want to know. After leaving the formation core, Ning Yu rushed to the Giant Shield Pavilion without stopping. Giant Shield Pavilion. At this moment, in the main hall of the Giant Shield Pavilion, 8 to 9 warriors were sitting in 2 rows. "Senior Quangzhan, are you sure that Ning Yu is fine?" Lu Wei suddenly stood up from her chair and asked. Hearing Lu Wei's words, Quangzhan rolled his eyes and said, "This is already the 700th time you've asked this in an hour. On average, it's every 4 to 5 seconds. Can't you be a little more at ease?" "I can't be at ease. Even now, we still don't know whether Ningyu is dead or alive. How can I be at ease?" Lu Wei said, "Bai Dun and Bai Qi aren't good people. If Ningyu leaves with them, he'll definitely be in danger." "There will definitely be danger, but it won't be life-threatening." Quangzhan shook his head. Outside the giant shield city, it was because of Ningyu's help that Fairy Yun Shi and Taoist Master GMO had a way to trap Tuahi. Now that it was said that the 100 Flower City had sent an army to attack, there was no reason for her not to protect Ningyu at such a dangerous time. "No, I still have to think of a way to see Ningyu." After thinking about it, Lu Wei said in a deep voice, "Bai Qi is someone who can do anything. If Ningyu falls into his hands, even if he doesn't die, he'll be tortured badly." "What? You want to torture me?" Chapter 1461. Mysterious Aura Ningyu? Hearing the voice coming from outside the giant shield pavilion, Lu Wei was stunned at first. Then she hurriedly turned her head. Looking at the thin figure at the entrance of the giant shield pavilion, Lu Wei's face was filled with joy. That thin figure was none other than Ningyu. This time, Master Xingyin was not with Ningyu. He and Fairy Yin, she had gone to the tower of the giant shield city to confront the experts from the 100 Flower City. Since the Peerless Killing Formation had been opened, the experts from the 100 Flower City would not be able to attack in a short period of time. So Ningyu came to the giant shield pavilion to look for Lu Wei and the rest. Genuine goods at fair prices. I guarantee you that it's genuine. Ningyu walked into the giant shield pavilion and casually found a chair to sit on. "Are you guys having a meeting?" "What meeting? If you didn't come, Lu Wei would have rushed over to save you." Wild Warrior laughed bitterly. Before Ningyu entered the forbidden grounds, he had instructed Wild Warrior to ensure the safety of Lu Wei and the rest. Now that Ningyu had returned, Wild Warrior's tense nerves had finally relaxed a little. As long as Ningyu appeared, the situation would improve. At the very least, he could let Lu Wei and the rest enter the Tower of Yu to take refuge. Hee, why save me? Do I look like I'm going to get into trouble?" Ningyu smiled and said to Lu Wei, "Don't worry about my safety. The person who can kill me in this world has yet to appear." "Stop being so smug." Lu Wei rolled her eyes at Ningyu and said, "With the current strength of the giant shield city, it is almost impossible to fight head-on with the 100 Flower City. Should we continue to stay in the giant shield city, or should we think of a way to leave?" "Of course we should stay in the giant shield city." Ningyu laughed bitterly. "Why?" Lu Wei was confused. The Sword of Evil, Mad Warrior, and the others were also confused. Given the current situation, everyone knew that they shouldn't stay in Giant Shield City. "Because the army of 100 Flower City has returned. They have already surrounded Giant Shield City. Even a fly can't leave Giant Shield City, let alone us," Ningyu explained. After some thought, Ningyu added, "From now on, you can move about freely in the city, Lord's Mansion. No one will do anything to you." "Let's not." Bai Dun is a ninth-grade Earth Sovereign. With him in the City Lord's mansion, it's better for us to keep a low profile. Lu Wei said solemnly. In Lu Wei's view, only Berserker was a ninth-grade Earth Sovereign, and he wasn't as powerful as Bai Shield. If White Shield were to forcefully attack them, they would have to bear the consequences. After all, White Shield was the City Lord of Giant Shield City. He was extremely powerful. Bai Dun is dead, and Bai Chi isn't dead. Aside from Bai Chi, everyone close to Bai Dun in the City Lord's mansion should be dead. Ning Yu shrugged. After leaving the Array Corps, Ning Yu handed Bai Dun to the Law of Space and the sapling for them to devour. After all, they had helped Ning Yu a lot in the vortex. There was no reason for Ning Yu to refuse if they wanted Bai Dun to devour them. As for Bai Chi, Ning Yu didn't plan to kill him. There was an extremely terrifying energy in Bai Chi's body, and that energy was very useful to Ning Yu. If he used it well, it could have unexpected effects. Dead. Hearing Ning Yu's words, Lu Wei and the others widened their eyes in disbelief. Bai Dun was a ninth-grade Earth Sovereign, the absolute overlord of Giant Shield City. Who could kill him? Could it be Master Xingyan? Lu Wei and the rest might not know, but Quang Zhan knew. With Ning Yu's strength, it was impossible for him to kill Bai Dun. If Bai Dun was dead, then there was only one explanation. Master Xingyan had made a move. Ning Yu, I wonder if Master Xingyan is. Quang Zhan hesitated. Master Xingyan is on the city wall. You can go look for him now. Ning Yu was very generous and did not ask Quang Zhan to stay, since he was going to watch the battle from the city wall. It didn't matter if it was earlier or later. Thank you. Quang Zhan cupped his fists towards Ning Yu before he tore through space and disappeared. Some of you have reached the ninth-grade Earth Sovereign Realm, and some have reached the quasi-heavenly Sovereign Realm. These Emperor-grade Yuan crystals are for you. After Quang Zhan left, Ning Yu took out an interspatial pouch and threw it to Lu Wei. Activating the Array Core had consumed tens of thousands of Emperor-grade Yuan crystals. In other words, Ning Yu only had a total of 10,000 Emperor-grade Yuan crystals on him. After receiving the interspatial pouch, Lu Wei did not stand on ceremony with Ning Yu. She distributed the Emperor-grade Yuan crystals, one by one. Their cultivation had been improving rapidly during this period of time, and they needed some Emperor-grade Yuan crystals to stabilize their cultivation. Ning Yu taking out so many Emperor-grade Yuan crystals was like sending charcoal in snowy weather. I'm going to take a look at the city wall. Do you want to come with me? Asked Ning Yu when he saw the Sword of Evil and the others receiving the Emperor-grade Yuan crystals. I'm not going. I just reached the quasi-Earth Sovereign Realm not long ago, and I need to find a way to stabilize my aura. The first to refuse was Sage Spirit Su. Sage Spirit Su was currently a quasi-Earth Sovereign, and his aura was not very stable. He wanted to use this time to stabilize his aura. I'm staying too. The second to refuse was Dan Guzi. Dan Guzi's soul force was very strong, and he could sense that Giant Shield City had activated the formation. In a short period of time, the experts from 100 Flower City would not be able to attack. Staying behind to stabilize his cultivation was the most important thing. I'm not going either. The Sword of Evil also refused. In the end, only Lu Wei wanted to take a look at the city wall. Lu Wei had a violet spirit body. Not only could she advance rapidly, but her ability to stabilize her cultivation was also terrifying. She didn't need to stay behind to stabilize her cultivation. You guys rest here. We'll be leaving first. Ning Yu didn't force the issue. He grabbed Lu Wei and rushed toward the city wall. Swish! Swish! Ning Yu and Lu Wei left the city, Lord's mansion, with incredible speed. In practically an instant, they were far away. Not long after leaving the city, Lord's mansion, Ning Yu suddenly stopped. What's going on? Asked Lu Wei. Seeing Ning Yu stop, she was puzzled. I sensed an extremely familiar aura. Ningyu frowned, feeling that something was off. This aura was extremely similar to the one he had encountered in the secret realm. Could it be that he's here? Ningyu's expression was grave. The he Ningyu spoke of was Xie of the Pale God clan. Xie cultivated the myriad embodiment transformation grand art. He could turn into millions of spirits. In the secret realm, Ningyu had fought with him and knew how powerful he was. That clone hadn't ranked very high among all of Xie's clones. If Ningyu's avatar had been ranked in the top 50 at that time, it was still unknown whether Ningyu would still be alive now. Haha, you really are extraordinary. I just released a bit of my aura and you sensed it. Chapter 1462. Chapter 1462. Cloud Return Tower. Cloud Return Tower's third floor? Hearing this, a cold expression appeared on Ningyu's face. It was Xie indeed. Xie told him that Lu and I had the purple spirit body and asked him to go to the third floor of the Tower of Clouds. This meant that Xie was confident. Ningyu's face was solemn as he thought of a plan. It was dangerous to bring Lu Wei there. If Xie's clone was ranked in the top 50, it would be extremely powerful. If he didn't bring Lu Wei, Ningyu was afraid that there would be other clones in Giant Shield City. After all, Xie had almost reached the initial success realm in the boundless secret realm and could create 99 clones. If it wasn't for Ningyu killing one of his clones in the empty secret realm, he would have reached the initial success realm in the boundless secret realm. That's right, the third floor of the Cloud Return Tower. See you there. After saying this, Xie's aura disappeared. No matter how hard Ningyu searched, he couldn't find him. Looks like Xie's clone is very close to the front. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said to Lu Wei, "Turn around. We're going to the Cloud Return Tower." This was Giant Shield City anyway. If he was in danger, Master Xingyun and Fairy Yin, she could come quickly. Plus, Ningyu had already advanced to the 9th grade Human Supreme and mastered the Yin-Yang Palm. Even if he met Xie's clone, he could still fight it. All right. Lu Wei knew that Ningyu must have his reasons for wanting to go to the Cloud Return Tower. So she didn't ask much and followed behind Ningyu, heading towards the Cloud Return Tower. How many? Not long after, Ningyu and Lu Wei stopped in front of the Cloud Return Tower. An Yuan Dan realm servant walked up and said respectfully, "The two of you, bring us to the third floor." Ning, you did not want to waste time. He directly stated his intention. "Someone is waiting for us on the third floor." The primordial core realm manservant felt a little awkward. Not long ago, a young man came to the Clouds Returning Inn and booked the entire place. That young man only had one request, and that was to not let anyone enter the third level within an hour. Of course, even if he couldn't go to the third floor, he could still go to the other floors. Although this request was very strange, the owner of Cloud's Returning Pavilion was very happy to make a little more money. As the saying goes, if you take someone's money, you will help them avoid disaster. Since Cloud's Returning Pavilion had taken the young man's origin crystal, they would naturally act according to his wishes. "Sorry, except for the third floor, you can go anywhere." The Yuan Dan realm manservant said, "We must go to the third floor." Ningyu said expressionlessly, Please don't make things difficult for me. I'm just a doorkeeper." The Yuan Dan realm manservant was embarrassed. He knew very well that the man and woman before him were both human supremacies. Moreover, they were both high-level human supremacies. He was only a Yuan Dan realm cultivator. If he angered them, he would definitely suffer. "How about this? I'll call the owner over." The Yuan Dan realm manservant said carefully. He was afraid of angering Ningyu and Lu Wei. Sorry for the trouble. Ningyu was not an unreasonable person. After all, the Clouds Returning Pavilion was someone else's trump card. It wouldn't be good to cause trouble here. Rustle, rustle. The Yuan Dan realm manservant quickly turned around and entered the clouds returning pavilion. Creak! Not long after, a middle-aged man slowly walked out of the clouds returning pavilion. 5th grade Earth Sovereign. Sensing the middle-aged man's aura, Ning Yu's face turned grave. With his current strength, facing a 5th grade Earth Sovereign would only mean death. If I've guessed correctly, you should be Ning Yu. The middle-aged man first looked at Ning Yu and said, I'm sorry, but the clouds returning pavilion has been booked. Please come another day. Sorry. Ning Yu seemed to have changed his mind. He grabbed Lu Wei's hand and left. Seeing Ning Yu leave, the middle-aged man's mouth was slightly opened. He was a little dumbfounded. What's going on? Why isn't Ning Yu playing his cards according to common sense? Shouldn't he first ask how to get to the 3rd level of the clouds returning pavilion before bargaining? Why did he just turn around and leave without giving any leeway? Please wait. Recalling the words of the man on the 3rd level of the clouds returning pavilion, the middle-aged man called out to Ning Yu, As long as you can receive 3 moves from me, I will immediately arrange a room for you on the 3rd level. Ning Yu did not even turn his head. What a joke! 3 moves from you. Isn't that nonsense? You're a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, while I'm only an initial phase 9th grade Earth Sovereign. The 2 of us aren't on the same level. Not to mention 3 moves. I won't even be able to receive 1 move from you. 2 moves. The middle-aged man yelled, trying to change Ning Yu's mind. However, Ning Yu still did not turn around. 1 move. The middle-aged man ruthlessly reduced the 3 moves to 1 move. The young man on the 3rd level of the clouds returning pavilion had said that if Ning Yu could exchange a move with him, he would give him 50,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Exchanging pointers for 3 moves was worth 150,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Initially, the middle-aged man was determined to obtain 150,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. But now, it looked like it would be pretty good if he could obtain 50,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Ning Yu stopped abruptly when he heard the middle-aged man say that he only needed to block 1 move. Turning around, Ning Yu returned to the main entrance of the clouds returning pavilion. If you can withstand 1 move from me, I'll let you enter the 3rd level of the clouds returning pavilion. Seeing that Ning Yu had returned, the middle-aged man let out a long sigh and said, As for me, I don't want to withstand 1, 2, or 3 moves from you. I just want to know if I can enter the 3rd level of the clouds returning pavilion. Ning Yu shrugged. You. Hearing Ning Yu's words, the middle-aged man gnashed his teeth in anger. He was a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, while Ning Yu was only a 9th grade Earth Sovereign. How dare Ning Yu speak to him in such a manner when there was a huge gap between their cultivation? What's wrong? You can't enter? Ning Yu raised his brows and regretfully said, Then I'll be taking my leave. You can enter. The middle-aged man was furious. He gnashed his teeth and said, The 3rd level of the clouds returning pavilion. I'm afraid that you won't be able to return alive. You don't have to worry about that. Ning Yu smiled at the middle-aged man and strode into the clouds returning pavilion. Dong, dong, dong. After entering the clouds returning pavilion, Ning Yu did not stop for long. Instead, he moved towards the 3rd level. Just as the middle-aged man had said, the spacious clouds returning pavilion was empty. Apart from him and Lu Wei, there was no one else. Ning Yu, what are we doing here? I think you've offended the boss of the clouds returning pavilion, and the boss is a 5th grade Earth Sovereign. Lu Wei was a little worried. After all, the clouds returning pavilion was a powerful force in Giant Shield City. Offending them was destined to be disastrous. It's fine. I'll deal with it when it comes. Ning Yu waved his hand and said, Not to mention that the boss of the clouds returning pavilion is a 5th grade Earth Sovereign. Even if he's a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, I would still dare to enter. Pa, pa, pa. In an instant, several crisp sounds came from the third level of the cloud's returning pavilion. Creak. Chapter 1463. News from the bloodthirsty wolf Xie. Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared, Ning Yu's expression was devoid of joy or sorrow. He said indifferently, "Speak. Why did you send me here?" On the surface, Ning Yu looked very calm, but in fact he was extremely surprised. The cultivation of Xie Yi's clone was at least a third-grade Earth Sovereign. This meant that Xie Yi was not much weaker than Bai Qi at his peak. In fact, he might even be stronger. "It's nothing important. I just wanted to have a chat with you." Xie Yi shrugged. "I'm sorry, but if it's just a chat, I don't think I have the time." As he spoke, Ning Yu turned his head, intending to leave the cloud-returning pavilion. "Haha, don't be in such a hurry. Don't you want to know where the two wolves that left the secret realm are?" Seeing that Ning Yu was about to leave, Xie Yi's lips curled. "If you leave just like that, I can't guarantee that something will happen." Whoosh! Hearing this, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat. Ever since he left the secret realm, he hadn't seen the two wolves. In the past, he thought that they were high-rank Earth Supreme and wouldn't be in danger. Now it seemed like he was wrong. Very wrong. More accurately, it was the blood-thirsty frenzied wolf and the rest that had fallen into Xie Yi's hands. "Where are they?" Ning Yu said in a deep voice with a solemn expression. "Haha, let's talk inside." Smiling, Xie Yi turned and entered the room. Since Xie Yi had put it this way, Ning Yu couldn't just leave. After all, the two bloodthirsty berserk wolves had helped him many times in the empty realm. Now that they were in trouble, Ning Yu had to save them no matter what. "Be careful." Ning Yu grabbed Lu Wei's arm and walked towards the third floor. Not long later, Ning Yu arrived at the third floor and stood in front of Xie Yi's room. "Come in." In the room, Xie Yi's tone was calm, and one could not tell if he was happy or angry. "Stay behind me." The calmer Xie Yi was, the more serious Ning Yu's face became. He protected Lu Wei behind him and pushed out with his right hand. Creak! The door was slowly pushed open. After opening the door, Ning Yu pulled Lu Wei and strode in. "Very good." Seeing Ning Yu enter the room, Xie Yi nodded his head. "You have two choices now. 1. Submit to me. 2. I will kill those two wolves. Be more realistic. Don't talk about useless things." Ning Yu first probed the room with his perception, then said, "I will never submit to you. Either you hand over ferocious, bloodlust mad wolf and the others, or I'll cripple this clone of yours." Ha ha ha! Evil One felt like he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. He laughed maniacally and said coldly, "Those two wolves are not here. They're in the army outside the city. If you want to save them, it's not impossible. But you have to leave Giant Shield City with me and try your luck with the 100 Flower City army." Hearing this, Ning Yu's face turned ugly. Try his luck with the 100 Flower City army? That was no different from suicide. Not just him. Even Fairy Yin Shi and Jinren Mo didn't dare to enter the army. "What? You're not willing?" Xie Yi pouted. "If you're not willing, I can't help you. I'm curious. This clone of yours doesn't have the ability to kill me. Why did you lure me here?" By now, Ning Yu had completely calmed down. He was terrifyingly calm. After analyzing, he was certain that Xie Yi's clone had no way of killing him. If not, with Xie Yi's personality, he would have killed him long ago. He wouldn't have waited until now. Xie Yi's eyes flashed for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. "You said that I can't kill you. Why don't we try?" A sinister smile rose on the corner of Xie Yi's lips. "This clone of mine is a third-grade Earth Sovereign, while you're only a 9th-grade Mortal Sovereign. I'll see how capable you are." With the word patience, Xie Yi stomped on the ground and dashed towards Ning Yu. Pist pist. As he charged, Xie Yi clenched his right fist and punched at Ning Yu's head. Luckily, Xie Yi should be slightly weaker than Bai Qi. Ning Yu compared Xie Yi's and Bai Qi's strengths. He realized that Bai Qi could easily defeat Xie Yi with his full strength. With Ning Yu's current strength, he wouldn't be a match for Bai Qi at his peak. But against Xie Yi he could win. Yin Yang Palm. At this critical moment, Ning Yu formed a series of hand seals and pushed out. As Ning Yu pushed out, 2 palm prints flew out from his palms and collided with Xie Yi's fist. Boom! The moment the palm print clashed with Xie Yi's fist, Xie Yi was sent flying backwards like a broken kite. Crack! He crashed heavily against the table and chairs behind him. In an instant, all the chairs in the room broke and were smashed into pieces. You do have some strength, but if you want to fight me, no, Xie Yi said coldly. He did not gain the upper hand. However, just as Xie Yi finished his sentence, he quickly retreated. Ning Yu's second palm print had also arrived before him and slammed against his chest. Puchi! A huge force came from his chest, causing Xie Yi to fly backwards once again. Damn it! The sudden change made Xie Yi's face turn dark. The yin-yang palm that Ning Yu had executed was indeed heaven-defying. If it wasn't for his cultivation reaching grade 3 Earth Supreme, he would have been defeated. Ning Yu, you've angered me. I'll skin you alive. Xie Yi went berserk. He wanted to kill Ning Yu and let Ning Yu die without a burial. Come out. In that instant, Xie Yi formed seals with both hands and waved them. Not long after, a few cultivators that looked similar to Xie Yi appeared in the room. Russell. When those cultivators appeared, they did not hesitate and immediately attacked Ning Yu. However, the strength of these cultivators was much weaker than Xie. Their cultivation was only at grade 1 Earth Supreme, and they could not pose any threat to Ning Yu. Puff! 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 Ning Yu held onto the red demonic sword and started a massacre in the room. Before long, the few martial artists that appeared later were all killed by Ning Yu, without exception. Ning Yu, how dare you kill my clone? Seeing the few martial artists die, Xie Yi said coldly, when we were in the empty secret territory, you destroyed one of my clones, causing me to be unable to train my 1,000-free embodiment technique to its peak. Now that you've killed my clone, I will make you beg for death. Come out, giant tyrant. Xie Yi made a grabbing motion with his right hand and space shattered. A massive creature charged out from the void. Ning Yu, this is the giant tyrant. You will definitely die in its hands today. Chapter 1464. Chapter 1464. Chapter 1464. Call for help, giant tyrant? Ning Yu was dumbfounded. Even those first-grade Earth sovereigns were easily killed by him. Now, Xie Yi had summoned a giant tyrant. What was the meaning of this? This giant tyrant's cultivation was only at the first-grade Earth sovereign realm, and it didn't seem very powerful. Did Xie Yi think that this giant tyrant could easily kill him? Go, giant tyrant! Xie Yi shouted coldly. Roar! As soon as Evil's voice fell, giant Tyrannosaurus roared the sky and charged at Ning Yu. Die! Ning Yu did not care about the gigantic Tyrannosaurus. He held the red demon's sword in his hand and slashed downwards. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out. The giant Tyrannosaurus head was chopped off on the spot. Puff! Following that, Ning Yu stabbed the red demon's sword into the giant tyrant's heart, directly penetrating it. From start to finish, 3 seconds had passed. In other words, the giant Tyrannosaurus only lasted 3 seconds in Ning Yu's hands before it was killed on the spot. Formation rise. Giant Tyrant's death was within Evil One's expectations. He was not discouraged. Instead, he waved his hands, and 4 pillars of light rose from the 4 corners of the room. Whoosh! 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 Ha ha ha! When the light pillar appeared, Xie Yi laughed. Ning Yu, this is a killing array. Without my help, you will not be able to escape. Standing in the middle of the array, Ning Yu did not speak. Instead, he locked his gaze onto Xie Yi and stared at him. To be honest, Ning Yu had no idea what Evil One was up to. What does it have to do with you whether I can escape or not? Ning Yu shrugged and said, You didn't lure me here just to trap me here, did you? If you have something to say, just say it. Don't beat around the bush. Actually, it's nothing much. I just want you to take me out of Giant Shield City without anyone knowing. Xie Yi's words shocked everyone. The ultimate killing array had already been activated. It was almost impossible to leave Giant Shield City at this time. Besides, even if they could leave Giant Shield City, it was still very dangerous outside. The army of 100 Flower City had already surrounded Giant Shield City. If they went out, only death awaited them. Why should I help you? Ning Yu didn't reject Evil One. He just frowned. Because those 2 bloodthirsty berserk wolves are in my hands. Xie Yi bargained with Ning Yu like a merchant. As long as you can bring me out of Giant Shield City, I will release those 2 wolves. Sounds good, but why should I believe you? Ning Yu curled his lips and said, You don't have a choice. Either you take the gamble, or I kill the 2 wolves. Xie Wan said confidently, Looks like I have no other choice. Ning Yu slowly closed his eyes and stopped talking. Ning Yu did not speak, neither did Xie Yi. In an instant, the room became extremely quiet. Even the sound of breathing could be heard. After a while, Xie Yi said, Have you thought it through? You don't have a choice. You're trapped in this killing array. As long as I give the order, you will die. I seem to have guessed something. Suddenly, Ning Yu opened his eyes and said, I don't think you have succeeded in the first stage of the freedom transformation art. Ning Yu's words caused Xie Yi's eyes to flicker. Taking a deep breath, Xie Yi pretended to be calm. Humph. Don't make wild guesses. The few cultivators you just killed were my second stage clones. Their cultivations are all first-grade Earth Sovereigns. I've already started cultivating the second stage of the boundless embodiment technique. This clone of yours is your 100th clone. It is also the key to success in the first stage of the freedom transformation art. Ning Yu ignored Xie Yi's words and continued. The rest of your 99 doppelgangers and even your main body are outside Giant Shield City. You want me to send your doppelganger out of Giant Shield City so that you can merge all 100 doppelgangers as soon as possible so that you can master the first stage. Because if you're late, your years of hard work will go to waste, and you will have to recultivate the freedom transformation art. Nonsense. Xie Yi was shocked. He did not expect Ning Yu to guess so accurately, but he would not expose himself at this time. Xie Yi berated, Since you don't believe me, then I will fulfill your wish. I will activate the killing array and kill you. You want to activate the killing array to kill me? You're still lacking. Ning Yu shrugged his shoulders, and then with a thought he said, Elders, come out and help me. Voila! Suddenly, the space beside Ning Yu broke apart, and 3 figures slowly appeared in the room. Hiss! Xie Yi could not help sucking in a breath of cold air when he felt the terrifying aura coming from the 3 figures. 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns and 1 8th-grade Earth Sovereign. This formation made his heart tremble. How could there be such experts by Ning Yu's side? One must know that he had used a secret technique to scan the area. Almost all the experts of the Giant Shield City had gone to the city tower. Why would there be 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns and 1 8th-grade Earth Sovereign by Ning Yu's side? Elders, please restrain him. I have a use for him, said Ning Yu. What are you thanking me for? Your problem is my problem. The 8th-grade Earth Sovereign pretended to be angry. If it wasn't for you, our Nebula Academy would have been destroyed long ago. Speaking of which, we have to thank you for finding us a place to stay. That's right, these were none other than the elders of Nebula Academy. Back at Nebula Academy, Ning Yu had placed all the elders who had not left in the Yuzuan Tower. Originally, Ning Yu had wanted to let them out when they arrived at the giant shield city. But Master Xing Yin felt that the city was in a mess, so he did not let them out. Now that Ning Yu was in danger, finding a few high-rank Earth sovereigns to save him wouldn't have much of an impact. Right, where are Master Xing Yin and Kuang Zhan? The 8th grade Earth sovereign's name was Yang Chong. He first locked his aura on Xie Yi, then said to Ning Yu they should be fine, right? Don't worry, they're fine. Ning Yu smiled. The giant shield city is in a mess right now. Once we're done here, you can leave the Yuzuan Tower and find a place to rebuild Nebula Academy. Good, that's all I need to hear. Yang Chong was overjoyed. His figure flashed and instantly appeared beside Xie Yi. Bang! He clenched his right fist and slammed it against Xie Yi's chest. The huge force caused Xie Yi to retreat a few feet. As Xie Yi retreated, a cold light shot out from Yang Chong's sleeves. Under Xie Yi's shocked gaze, it entered his consciousness. Control the consciousness. In an instant, Xie Yi thought of something terrifying. This 8th grade Earth sovereign wanted to control his sea of consciousness. The consciousness was the weakest and most important part of a person's body. Once it was controlled, his fate would be in the hands of this 8th grade Earth sovereign. Chapter 1465. Chapter 1465. Chapter 1465. Find a way to get out of here. You can't do this to me, or you will suffer retribution. Xie Yi resisted with all his might. This doppelganger was the key to whether or not he could successfully cultivate the infinite free embodiment technique. No matter what, he could not allow himself to be controlled by Ning Yu. With Ning Yu's personality, after controlling his doppelganger, he would definitely use this to threaten him and force him to reveal the infinite free embodiment technique. If I don't do this to you, I'll suffer retribution. Yang Chong did not care about Xie Yi's cries. He controlled the cold light to enter Xie Yi's mind and took control of it. Ning Yu, I'll leave this soul energy to you. Use it to control the life and death of this 3rd grade Earth sovereign. After controlling Evil One, Yang Chong casually threw out a cold light towards Ning Yu. Ning Yu's mind stirred, and he firmly caught the cold light. The cold light was Yang Chong's soul power, and it was connected to the soul power in Xie Yi's consciousness sea. In other words, if Ning Yu wanted Xie Yi dead, Xie Yi would not be able to escape. Seniors, I'll have to trouble you to break the formation around us, Ning Yu said as he retracted his soul power. It's nothing. Yang Chong and the 2 other 7th grade Earth sovereigns worked together and spent 3 minutes to break the array that Xie Yi had set up. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After breaking the array, Yang Chong and the rest leaped into the tower of the supremacy of Yu. Ning Yu had said that now was not the time for them to leave the Tower of Yuzu. Therefore, they did not stay in the outside world and entered the Tower of the Lord of Yu. Actually, compared to the outside world, cultivating in the Tower of Yuzuan was twice the result with half the effort. If not for the fact that they had yet to take revenge, they would have stayed in the Tower of Ascension to cultivate. Xie Wan, I can take you out of Giant Shield City. Ning Yu walked toward Xie Yi. After a while, he stopped in front of Xie Yi and said, But you have to promise me one thing. Humph. Don't expect me to tell you the 1,000 free-form technique. Xie Yi snorted. On the surface, Xie Yi was furious. In fact, hope was ignited in his heart again. As long as Ning Yu did not kill him, he would have a chance. In addition, if Ning Yu wanted to leave Giant Shield City and set his sights on the great art of infinite freedom of embodiment, then he might be able to escape from Ning Yu's clutches. You misunderstand. I just want to see what your main body looks like. Ning Yu shrugged and said, Now that you are in my hands, you have no other choice. Either you take me there, or you die. You, Hearing Ningyu use his own words against him, Xie gritted his teeth in anger. He clenched his fists and said, "All right, I'll bring you to see my main body. I'm just afraid that you won't be able to return alive. You don't have to worry about that. You just need to take me there. You don't have to worry about anything else," Ningyu said fearlessly. "All right, I'll take you there," Xie said coldly. "There's no time to lose. Let's go now. Seems like you're in a hurry. Don't rush. Before we leave Giant Shield City, there's something I need to do." Ningyu patted Xie's shoulder with his right hand and said, "Stay where you are and don't move. I'm going to set up a few arrays on you." Acting mysterious, Xie's eyes were tightly shut. No one knew what he was thinking. Ningyu. Seeing Ningyu's actions, Lu Wei opened her mouth and said, "I really need your help. Give me a drop of blood." Ningyu smiled at Lu Wei and said, "Whoosh, whoosh." Without another word, Lu Wei forced out 2 drops of blood and sent them to Ningyu. TSK. Ningyu controlled Lu Wei's blood and started setting up arrays around Xie. Lu Swan was of the purple spirit body. Her essence blood would be very helpful. In his previous life, Ningyu had seen a special method of isolating space. It mainly used the blood of a purple spirit body. Now, Ningyu used Lu Wei's 2 drops of blood to set up a few arrays around Xie. Law of space: if Xie sends any news to the outside world, inform me immediately. After doing all this, Ningyu contacted the law of space and asked it to watch over Xie. After all, the law of space was very sensitive to space. If anything happened, it would be the first to notice. "Are you done?" Xie stared at Ningyu impatiently. "You already control my life and death. What's the point of setting up arrays around me? It's always better to be careful." Ningyu smiled at Xie. Then he grabbed Lu Wei's arm and walked out of the room. Seeing Ningyu and Lu Wei leave, a cold glint appeared in Xie's eyes. Moving his feet, Evil One followed closely. Xie's plan was simple. He would first use Ningyu to leave Giant Shield City and then think of a way to contact his main body. As long as he left Giant Shield City, he would have a way to contact his main body. If the main body came, Ningyu would definitely die. They left just like that, on the 2nd floor of Cloud Returning Building. The middle-aged man saw that Ningyu and Xie had left unscathed and was stunned. He remembered clearly that Xie seemed to have a grudge against Ningyu. Why did it look like nothing had happened to them? Forget it. This matter involves Palace Master Bai Hua. It's better if I don't interfere. I'll just keep quiet and get rich. The middle-aged man took out a storage bag and weighed it in his hand. A smile appeared on his face. Let's wait a while more. Let's wait for Bai Dun to deal with Palace Master Bai Hua first. Due to the fact that the City Lord residence was kept a secret, no one else knew about it other than a few people. In particular, in Giant Shield City, only Ningyu, Lu Swan, and a few others knew about White Shield's death. Even Palace Master 100 Flowers and Fairy Yin, she didn't know much about it. After all, Bai Dun hadn't died yet. He was just kept in Ningyu's storage ring. Sha. At the same time, on the streets of Giant Shield City, Ningyu, Xie, and the rest dashed towards the other gate of Giant Shield City. Giant Shield City had a total of 4 gates. Among them, the south gate was the weakest and the easiest to break. Perfected Devil and Fairy Yin, she were at the south gate now. Ningyu was going to the north gate. The north gate had been completely sealed. It would be difficult to get through from the outside or inside. Relatively speaking, the north gate had the fewest guards. It was the best way to leave Giant Shield City. Ningyu, are you sure you can take me out from the north gate? Seeing Ningyu heading to the north gate, Xie frowned. From what I can see, the south gate is the easiest to leave. Although there are many people there, it's also the easiest to leave. Too young. Ningyu looked at Xie and said, "On the surface, it looks like the north gate is the hardest to leave, but that's not the case. Under normal circumstances, it's indeed hard to leave from the North Gate. However, Giant Shield City is covered by an ultimate killing formation, and this place is where the eye of the formation is. Don't joke with me. The eye of the ultimate killing formation is underground in the center of Giant Shield City. How can it be here? Xie Yi naturally didn't believe Ningyu. Chapter 1466. Chapter 1466. Chapter 1466. Captive. You'll know when we get there. Ning, you did not want to waste any more time with Xie Yi. In a flash, he dashed towards the North Gate. I'd like to see how you're going to leave from the North Gate. Xie Yi's face was cold as he followed closely behind Ningyu. Swish, swish, swish. About 5 minutes later, Ningyu, Xie Yi, and Lu Wei appeared near the North Gate. Why not? Seeing Ningyu stop in an alley, Xie Yi asked curiously. Are you stupid? Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, the entire Giant Shield City is shrouded by the ultimate killing formation. Even if there is no one at the North Gate, it will be very difficult for you to leave. Then what's the point of coming here? Isn't it a waste of effort? Xie Yi's face was ugly. Whether or not he could leave Giant Shield City depended on whether or not he could successfully cultivate the first stage of the boundless embodiment technique. No one will think you're mute if you don't speak. Ningyu said coldly, if you want to leave Giant Shield City, don't say a word from now on. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving Giant Shield City. Obviously, Ningyu's words were very destructive. Although Xie Yi was furious, he didn't dare to say anything. If he completely angered Ningyu, he would definitely not be able to bear the consequences. After all, his life was still temporarily in the hands of Ningyu. Ningyu closed his eyes slightly and unleashed his powerful perception as if he was searching for something. Open. After a while, Ningyu suddenly opened his eyes. He stretched out his hands and tore a hole in the void. Let's leave quickly before something unexpected happens. When the gap appeared, Ningyu grabbed Lu Wei and jumped in. Let's fight. At this point, Evil One could only choose to believe in Ningyu, because he discovered that after Ningyu left, there was a powerful perception flying over from the South Gate. Without a doubt, it was Fairy Yin Shi and the others. The rupture in the void here naturally attracted their attention. Whoosh! With a leap, Xie Yi squeezed in at the last moment before the gap closed. Buzz! After Xie Yi left, the gap closed up and everything returned to normal. You guys, go to the North Gate and take a look. It seems like the people from 100 Flower City want to attack from there. On the southern gate, Fairy Yin, she said to the 2 7th-grade Earth sovereigns beside her. Furthermore, tell the northern gate to immediately report the slightest disturbance. Yes, the 2 7th-grade Earth sovereigns nodded their heads before they tore through space and disappeared. Aren't you a little too nervous? The Peerless Slaughter Array has already been activated. Unless the 100 Flower City mobilizes a heavenly sovereign, it's impossible for them to attack the Giant Shield City within 3 days, Chi Mo said as he looked at Fairy Yunshi. It was impossible in the past, but who knows if White Shield left any trump cards behind. It's better to be careful. Fairy Yunshi's expression was emotionless as she spoke. White Shield was the city lord of the Giant Shield City. If he really left any trump cards behind, the consequences would be unimaginable. Now that you've put that way, it might be possible. No, I have to interrogate those people. I must get something out of them. Chi Mo's expression was a little grave. His figure flashed as he flew towards the city lord's mansion. The cultivators that colluded with White Shield had already been captured and interrogated by him. However, Chi Mo did not obtain any useful information from them. Now that there might be a change, Chi Mo naturally had to interrogate them again. This time, Chi Mo decided that no matter what method he had to use, he had to get something out of them. Whoosh! At the same time, 3 cultivators suddenly appeared in a dense forest outside the giant shield city. Without a doubt, these 3 cultivators were Ningyu, Xie and the rest. They really left. Looking around, Xie felt that it was a little unbelievable. He was extremely excited to be able to leave the giant shield city safely. That was an ultimate killing formation. How did Ningyu break it? Since Ning, you could break the ultimate killing formation. Didn't that mean that as long as he captured Ningyu, he could break the killing formation from the outside? Ha ha ha. The more he thought about it, the more excited Xie got. In the end, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Hearing Xie laugh, Ningyu looked at him as though he was looking at an idiot. Have you lost your mind? I'm sorry. I'm just a little excited to be able to leave the giant shield city successfully. Xie retracted his smile and said, Don't rush. What will make you excited is yet to come. Bring me to see the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves. Ningyu looked at Xie with a faint smile. If anything happens to the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves, you should know the consequences. See the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves? Aren't we going to see my main body? Why do we have to see the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves? Xie was a little confused. He thought he was going to see the main body. Who would have thought that Ningyu's idea was a little strange? He wanted to see the 2 wolves? Should I contact the main body? Xie's eyes flickered. He wanted to contact the main body, but was afraid that Ningyu would find out. After all, he only had one chance. If he missed this opportunity, he wouldn't get another one. What's wrong? You can't bring me to see the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves? Seeing Xie's face, Ningyu was confused. There is a way, but I'm afraid you won't dare to go. Xie frowned. The 2 wolves are 7th grade Earth Sovereigns, and the cultivators guarding them are 8th grade Earth Sovereigns. With your current state, halfway through a sentence, Xie seemed to have thought of something and stopped talking. Ningyu was indeed only a 9th grade human sovereign and could only fight against a 3rd grade Earth Sovereign. However, Ningyu had an 8th grade Earth Sovereign with him. The reason why he was controlled by Ningyu and the array he set up was all because of the 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Where are the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves? Ning, you didn't want to listen to Xie's nonsense. He asked directly, Can we sneak to where the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves are? I'm afraid it's a little difficult. Xie shook his head. I heard that there are 2 8th grade Earth Sovereigns in 100 Flower City who have their eyes on the 2 wolves and want to make them their mounts. Crack, crack. Hearing this, Ningyu clenched his fists tightly. The ferocious and scarred wolves had helped him a lot. He had to get them out no matter what. You must have a way. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu calmed down. Needless to say, Xie definitely had a way to get close to the ferocious and bloodthirsty wolves. The reason why Xie didn't want to tell him was because he wanted to get more benefits. I do have a way. Now that things had come to this, Xie didn't want to hide anymore. He said, As long as you let go of me, I will. Pucci. Before Evil could finish his sentence, he felt his body lighten and he fell backwards. Crack! The huge tree, which was as thick as a person's waist, was directly smashed in half. Crack! Chapter 1467. Earth Dragon Grass. Remember your identity, captive, prisoner. You have no right to bargain with me. After kicking Xie away, Ningyu said indifferently, You only have 2 choices now. Either you bring me to see the ferocious, blood-crazed wolf, or you die. You. Xie clenched his teeth. He didn't think that Ningyu would be so ruthless, not giving him any chance at all. Actually, he was just testing Ningyu. He didn't think that Ningyu would release his control over him. He just wanted to test Ningyu's thoughts. Who would have thought that Ningyu wouldn't even give him a chance to retort? He extended his right leg and kicked him far away. I'll bear with you for a while longer. Because they were far from the main body, Xie didn't do anything. He could only swallow his anger. Taking a deep breath, Xie said, I do have a way to bring you to the wolves, but Xie paused and continued, you have to promise me not to mess around. If we attract the attention of the 100 Flower Cities army, we will be in deep trouble. Where are they? Are they in the army? Ningyu was confused. Why did it sound like they were going deep into the enemy's territory? That's right, they are in the army. Evil nodded and said, this time the army of 100 Flower City is divided into east, south, west, and north. The 2 wolves are in the east. It's very dangerous to go deep into the east. I suggest that some people don't go. Xie glanced at Lu Wei, his meaning clear. To Xie, Lu Wei was only an 8th grade human supreme. She would only be a burden to the East Army. She's more useful than you. Ning, you didn't want to argue with Xie about Lu Wei. He said, let's not waste time. Let's go. Follow this forest to the east. At the end, you will see the East Army. Xie pointed to the east. Go. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. He took Lu Wei with him and walked toward the east side of the forest. Due to the arrival of the 4 armies of the 100 Flower City, the demonic beasts in the forest had all scattered, leaving only a few behind. Along the way, Ningyu and the others were unimpeded. Furthermore, Ningyu had also found out from Xie that the leader of the Eastern Army was a quasi-heavenly sovereign. Since there was a half-step heaven supreme, Ningyu had Lu Wei enter his spatial ring, and he and Evil, too, continued on their way. Ningyu and Xie were not slow. Soon, they reached the end of the forest. There are actually so many people in the Eastern Army. At the end of the forest, Ningyu looked at the large army in the distance with a serious look in his eyes. Ningyu knew that there were many people attacking Giant Shield City this time, but he hadn't expected there to be so many. Although the 100 Flower City was bigger than the Giant Shield City, it shouldn't be by much, right? There shouldn't be so many people here. Looks like you don't know much about that mysterious expert of the 100 Flowers Palace. Seeing Ningyu's puzzled expression, Xie explained, that expert is very powerful. Most of the cultivators in the 100 Flowers Palace listen to his orders. Furthermore, he has even used the resources of the 100 Flowers Palace to recruit experts to lead the charge. I see. Ningyu nodded his head. The half-step heavenly sovereign from the Eastern Army is called Meng Quan. Rumor has it that he's from the Alchemy Union and is a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist. I'm not sure if it's true, Xie said. The situation is a little not good. Someone's coming. Just when Ningyu was about to speak, his face turned grave. He immediately tore space apart and entered. Xie also waved his hands and disappeared in an instant. Rustle, rustle. Not long after, 2 first-grade Earth sovereigns appeared. How troublesome. They actually want us to borrow some Earth dragon grass from the Western Army. Isn't that nonsense? One of the 2 first-grade Earth sovereigns had a tan face and a tall figure, while the other had a short figure with long hair. Amongst them, the tan man grumbled, How can we borrow something as precious as the Earth dragon grass? Stop grumbling. Master Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua need the Earth dragon grass to refine into elixirs to subdue the 2 bloodthirsty wild wolves. The long-haired man waved his hand. Although it's a tough task, if we can complete it, who knows, Master Mu Ping might reward us with a few elixirs. Wouldn't that be great? That's right. Only by going through hardships can one rise above others. The black-faced man nodded his head and said, I've heard that the higher-ups will reward us with 1,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals for every Earth sovereign's head we behead in the Giant Shield City. If we can obtain those elixirs to increase our strength, we'll definitely be able to kill many Earth sovereign experts of the Giant Shield City. Those trash of the Giant Shield City are too stubborn. They don't even know the simple logic of adapting to circumstances. They deserve to be killed. The long-haired man's lips rose into an arc as he eerily said, Really? Suddenly, a faint voice resounded in the ears of the long-haired man and the tanned man. "Who is it?" The sudden change caused the faces of the tanned man and the long-haired man to drastically change as they cautiously looked around and said in a solemn voice, "Don't try to fool us. Get out here." "As you wish." In response to the black-faced man and the others, there was only a faint reply, "Buzz." Thereafter, the space before the tanned man suddenly split apart and a figure slowly appeared in his sight. "Ninth grade, mortal sovereign. Ha ha ha." Seeing the cultivator that suddenly appeared, the tanned man was briefly stunned before he burst into laughter. And here I was wondering what expert it was. "So it's a ninth grade mortal sovereign. Ha ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. I'll see where you get your confidence from to contend with me." As he spoke, the tanned man swiftly charged out and threw his iron-like fist towards Ning Yu's face. Crack! Ning Yu unhurriedly threw out a punch, which coincidentally collided with the tanned man's fist. A crisp sound rang out. A figure rapidly retreated and heavily crashed into the ground. How is that possible? The long-haired man's face was filled with shock and disbelief. In his view, the tanned man was a first-grade Earth sovereign, while his opponent was only a ninth-grade mortal sovereign. The gap between the two was huge, so it didn't make sense for the tanned man to lose. However, the truth was placed before him, so the long-haired man had no choice but to believe it. "Brat, you're courting death." Clenching his fists, the long-haired man instantly charged out and roared, "Let's attack together. I don't believe we can't kill him." "Did you ask for my opinion before you attacked?" As the long-haired man advanced, space split apart and Xie Yi appeared. Swish! Chapter 1468. Who are you? The long-haired man's face was ugly as he berated. The long-haired man's face was very ugly as he berated. Ning Yu was only a ninth-grade human sovereign. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't be that strong. Ning Yu was only a ninth-grade Earth sovereign. Even if they joined forces, they might not be a match for a third-grade Earth sovereign. Even if they joined forces, they might not be a match for a third-grade Earth sovereign. What should we do? Xie Yi did not answer the long-haired man, but turned to look at Ning Yu, seeking Ning Yu's opinion. Xie Yi's action shocked the long-haired man and the black-faced man. Could it be that a ninth-grade Earth sovereign had a special identity? Was he the young master of some family? Thinking about it, the long-haired man and the black-faced man started to think. They were already trapped by a third-grade Earth sovereign, and the only thing they could do now was to take down Ning Yu. Otherwise, they would definitely die. If they wanted to take down Ning Yu, they had to find an opportunity and strike when Xie Yi was unprepared. After exchanging glances, the black-faced, burly man and the long-haired man nodded slightly. They had a tacit understanding of each other. "You should know better than me what to do." Ning Yu shrugged and said, "I need to know everything about the army in the east." "No problem." Hearing Ning Yu's words, Xie Yi nodded his head and charged out, attacking the long-haired man and the black-faced man. "I'm going to kill him." Xie Yi's sudden attack caused the long-haired man and the rest's faces to change. Their original intention was to wait for Ning Yu to reveal an opening so that they could take down Ning Yu. Now, Xie Yi was the first to attack them. "I'll hold him back. You take down that ninth-grade Earth sovereign." The black-faced man took a step forward and blocked in front of Xie. "I can only hold him off for 3 minutes. You must take down that ninth-grade Earth sovereign within 3 minutes." "No problem." The long-haired man's face turned grave. He did not dare to waste the 3 minutes that the black-faced man had bought for him. In an instant he unleashed his trump card, wanting to deal a fatal blow to Ning Yu. It was still the same sentence. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. Before the long-haired man could reach Ning Yu, the outcome of the battle on the other side of the battlefield had already been decided. Kacha! Xie unleashed his strongest attack, punching through the man's heart, killing him on the spot. Even though Xie was under Ningyu's control, his abilities were still out of this world. The black-faced man was not as heaven-defying as Ningyu. His cultivation level was higher than Ningyu, but his strength was much weaker than Xie. It was reasonable for him to be killed by Xie's punch. Who the hell are you people? The long-haired man finally panicked when he saw that the black-faced man was killed with a single punch. His strength was weaker than the black-faced, burly man. Even the black-faced, burly man had been killed with a single punch, let alone him. Let me ask you a few questions. If you answer honestly, I can consider sparing your life. Ningyu went straight to the point. In the Eastern Army, there are 2 frenzied, bloodthirsty wolves. Do you know where they are being held? There are indeed 2 frenzied, bloodthirsty wolves, but I advise you not to target them. They are the mounts of Master Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua. The long-haired man did not hide anything. He even warned Ningyu not to act recklessly. Master Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua were both 8th grade Earth Supremes and 9th grade Initial Phase Alchemists. They were the leaders of the Eastern Army, Meng Quan's trusted aides. Rumor had it that they came from the same place, the Alchemy Union. Don't worry about it. Ningyu shrugged and continued. Second question. Do you have a way to bring us to where the 2 frenzied, bloodthirsty wolves are? The long-haired man hesitated when he heard Ningyu's words. The place where the 2 frenzied, bloodthirsty wolves are being held is heavily guarded. I can only bring you to the outermost area. As for getting close to them, I can't do it. Can't do it? Then what's the point of keeping you alive? As soon as he finished speaking, Ningyu flicked his wrist, and the red demon's sword instantly appeared in his hand. Raising the red demon's sword, Ningyu was about to slash at the long-haired man. Wait, let me think of a way. Think of a way. In the face of death, the long-haired man racked his brains to think of a way to survive. After all, no one wanted to die. I'll give you 3 minutes. Xie, keep an eye on him. Don't let him contact the people in the Eastern Army. Ningyu did not force the long-haired man. After he said that, he fell silent and closed his eyes. On the surface, Ningyu did not do anything. But in reality, that was not the case. His senses had already entered the storage ring and started searching for the herbs inside. What the long-haired man was looking for was the earth dragon grass. And Ningyu remembered very clearly that there was the earth dragon grass in the storage bag. If he could find the earth dragon grass, he would have the capital to sneak into the Eastern Army. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to sneak into the Eastern Army. Found it. Not long after, Ningyu's face lit up. In the storage ring, he did find the earth dragon grass. The earth dragon grass was a very precious herb. Generally speaking, elixirs refined with the earth dragon grass would not have bad effects. If I'm not wrong, that Master Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua want the earth dragon grass to refine the earth dragon pill. Ningyu frowned slightly. The earth dragon pill was an early-stage grade 9 elixir. The refining process was very complicated. However, the effect of the earth dragon pill was very good. If the bloodthirsty mad wolf and the rest swallowed it, they might really be controlled by Master Mu Ping. Earth dragon grass. Earth dragon pill. Got it. Ningyu's eyes turned, and he suddenly thought of a countermeasure. According to the reincarnation pill Dao's records, there was a type of herb that was extremely similar to the earth dragon grass. And the earth dragon pill refined with that type of herb basically did not have much effect. That type of herb was called earth tiger grass. Even though the earth dragon grass and earth tiger grass only differed by one word, the effects were indeed very different. Where can I find the earth tiger grass? Ningyu fell into a difficult situation again. He had the earth dragon grass, but he did not have the earth tiger grass. Don't tell me I have to return to Giant Shield City. Ningyu was very conflicted. If he returned to Giant Shield City, he could definitely find the Earth Tiger Grass from Master Xingyan. But that would also completely expose him. And staying here, it would be very difficult to find the Earth Tiger Grass. Right. Suddenly, Ningyu slapped his head, and his mind sank into the Tower of Yuzuan. Swish! After passing through the first 9 levels of the Tower of Yuzuan, Ningyu directly arrived at the 10th level. Senior, I have a request. Ningyu appeared extremely respectful and said, the illusory figure on the 10th level of the Tower of Yuzuan was extremely powerful, and he was the actual controller of the Tower of Yuzuan. In Ningyu's opinion, he definitely had the Earth Tiger Grass on him. What is it? After a while, a vigorous voice rang in Ningyu's ears. Chapter 1469. Chapter 1469. Chapter 1469 to pretend. I have the Earth Tiger Grass, and I can give it to you as well. But you have to be careful. There are heavenly sovereigns in the army not far from you. Show. Following that, the space beside Ningyu broke apart, and a storage bag appeared in front of him. Thank you, Senior. After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu released his perception and probed it for a bit, then hurriedly said, You've helped me a lot this time. Go. The 3 heavenly sovereigns will listen to your orders soon. A powerful voice sounded, ordering the guest to leave. Hearing this, Ningyu's face revealed a look of excitement. His situation was getting more and more dangerous. If he had 3 heavenly sovereigns listening to him, he could basically walk unhindered in the pellet formation continent. After all, that slaughter demon was a mid-heavenly supreme. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu left the Tower of Yuzu in the blink of an eye. Although it was exciting to have 3 Sky Supremes at his beck and call, Ningyu knew his priorities. His goal in leaving Giant Shield City this time was to rescue the bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf and the scarred Berserk Wolf. Now that he had obtained the ground tiger grass, he could pass it off as genuine and deceive the long-haired man. In fact, Ningyu already had a plan in mind. It was just that he could not tell the long-haired man about the most crucial part of the plan. Not only could he not tell the long-haired man, he could not even tell Xie. After all, Xie was very special. This was just his doppelganger. Before he found his main body, Ningyu did not dare to let his guard down. What's your decision? After leaving the Tower of Yuzuan, Ningyu came to the long-haired man and asked, Is there any way for us to see those 2 wolves? There's a way, but it's a little difficult. The long-haired man wiped the sweat off his forehead, gritted his teeth, and said, You pretend to be the black-faced, burly man. The 2 of us will go to the Western Army to borrow the Earth Dragon Grass. Then you and I will return to the Eastern Army and hand the Earth Dragon Grass to Grandmaster Mu Ping and Grandmaster Mu Hua. After thinking about it, I think this is the only way. Ningyu did not answer the long-haired man immediately. Instead, he pretended to be deep in thought. In fact, the long-haired man had the same idea as Ningyu. However, Ningyu was pressuring the long-haired man to make him say more. As expected, Ningyu's silence gave the long-haired man enough pressure. Bean-sized beads of sweat dripped down the forehead of the long-haired man. This is the best way. This is the only thing we can do. The long-haired man said again, The place where the 2 bloodthirsty berserk wolves are imprisoned is heavily guarded. We definitely can't barge in, so we can only use this method. All right, we'll do as you say. Ningyu nodded and said, Tell me everything about the black-faced man's characteristics, hobbies, and daily details. No problem. The long-haired man heaved a sigh of relief. That was close. As long as you didn't kill him, he would have a chance to live. Once we enter the Eastern Army, I won't have to worry about not being able to kill you too. The long-haired man told Ningyu about the black-faced man's characteristics and thought to himself, When that time comes, I will turn you 2 into ashes. After about 10 minutes, the long-haired man finally told Ningyu everything about the black-faced man. The long-haired man knew the black-faced man so well that Ningyu couldn't help but look at him in a different light. However, the way Ningyu looked at the long-haired man was a little special. "Xie, when we enter the Eastern Army, I definitely won't be able to bring you along. I want to ask, do you have a way to hide your qi and stay by my side?" Ningyu didn't care about the long-haired man's private life. He turned to Xie and said, "The Eastern Army is extremely dangerous. You better have a way to hide your qi. If not, I will have to use my own method to keep you." "Of course I have a way." Xie flicked his wrist, and a blue jade bracelet appeared in his hand. Shaking the bracelet, Xie said, "It's called the blue jade bracelet. I will enter its body. You just have to bring it with you." "No problem," Ningyu said. Whoosh! In the next second, Xie's body flashed and entered the blue jade bracelet. Pack! Ningyu reacted quickly and grabbed the bracelet before it fell to the ground. This blue jade bracelet is very special. It can hide my qi and help me find an opportunity dash. Inside the bracelet, Xie snickered. However, just as Xie was about to laugh, he stopped abruptly. He realized that his senses were trapped inside the bracelet and couldn't leave. Done! Outside, Ningyu threw the bracelet into the Tower of Yuzuin and clapped his hands. "Long-haired man, we can go now." The Tower of Yuzuin had the ability to isolate qi. Xie naturally couldn't use his senses inside. "Let's go." The long-haired man organized his thoughts and walked towards the Western Army. "Wait, you seem to be going in the wrong direction." Ningyu stopped him. "We need to go to the Eastern Army to see the bloodthirsty wolf." "But we don't have the earth dragon grass." The long-haired man was confused. Without it, even if they returned to the Eastern Army, they wouldn't be able to see the bloodthirsty wolf. After all, Ningyu was temperamental, and the long-haired man didn't want anything to happen. Once he found the earth dragon grass, he would give it to Master Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua. Then he would slowly look for an opportunity. "I have the earth dragon grass." Ningyu flicked his wrist and took out the earth tiger grass from his storage bag. Because the earth tiger grass and earth dragon grass were very similar, the long-haired man was stunned. The reason why the long-haired man was like this was not because Ningyu had earth dragon grass, but because Ningyu had too much earth dragon grass. Master Mu Ping and Master Mu Hua only needed one earth dragon grass, and Ningyu had so many. What a surprise! "Let's go to the Eastern Army." Ningyu put away the ground tiger grass and walked toward the army on the East Road. The long-haired man hesitated and said, "But you don't look like the dark-faced man." Ningyu was pretending to be the dark-faced man. Even if he had a lot of earth dragon grass, he had to look like the dark-faced man to not arouse suspicion. "That's easy." Ningyu shrugged, and then his entire body began to expand. Crack, crack. His bones stretched and his skin tanned. In just a few seconds, Ningyu looked like a completely different person. The current him was exactly the same as the dark-faced man from before. Be it his body shape or temperament, there wasn't much difference. Even the long-haired man who had been in contact with the dark-faced man for a long time couldn't find any flaws. "Let's go." Since Ningyu had become the dark-faced man, the long-haired man didn't hesitate anymore. His figure flashed, and he led the way for Ningyu. With Ningyu by his side, the long-haired man didn't dare to act rashly. He was very obedient along the way and didn't do anything out of line. Chapter 1470. For powerhouses among the 4 armies attacking Giant Shield City, the Eastern Army was the most special. That's because the leader of the Eastern Army, Meng Quan, came from the Pellet Refinement Union. Meng Quan himself was a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist and a quasi-heavenly supreme. Thus, the leaders of the other 3 armies were extremely respectful to him. After all, no one knew when they would be injured, so it would be best if they could find a pinnacle, ninth-grade alchemist to get some life-saving elixirs. Then again, no one would ask Meng Quan for elixirs after they were injured. Seeing that the battle was about to erupt, the leaders of the other 3 armies, 3 quasi-heavenly sovereigns, gathered in the Eastern Army. The reception hall of the Eastern Army was located at the center. Originally, this place was a barren wasteland, but Meng Quan used a great trick to move a palace here, and this palace also became the most important place for the Eastern Army. In the hall, a man in his 30s or 40s sat at the head with 3 old men on his 2 sides. Cough, cough. Not long after, the man coughed and asked, "May I know why you're here?" Without a doubt, this man was the leader of the Eastern Army, Meng Quan, who was a quasi-heavenly supreme. The 3 old men came from the Western Army, Southern Army, and Northern Army. Amongst them, the Northern Army's quasi-heavenly supreme was called Big Dipper Venerable, who had a powerful aura. The leader of the Southern Army was called Southern Dipper Venerable, who was a quasi-heavenly supreme. The leader of the Western Army was called Shido Venerable, who was also a quasi-heavenly supreme. Seeing that the battle is about to erupt, we're here to ask for some life-saving elixirs from Brother Meng. The first to speak was Big Dipper Venerable. He smiled. Brother Meng's identity is extraordinary, and the higher-ups have already ordered that the Eastern Army will be the last to attack. That's right. With our 3 armies taking the vanguard, I believe that by the time Brother Meng makes a move, the giant shield city will have already fallen, so Brother Meng won't be affected. Shido Venerable added, Brother Meng is a pinnacle 9th-grade alchemist, so you can refine a few elixirs for us to broaden our horizons. Southern Dipper Venerable said. On the surface, Nando the Venerable and the others were complimenting Meng Quan, but that was not the case. On the surface, they were complimenting Meng Quan, but in reality, they were testing the pressure on Meng Quan and expressing their dissatisfaction. The higher-ups had ordered Meng Quan to be the last to attack, and had even sent the elite troops to Meng Quan. It was obvious that they wanted to use them as cannon fodder. On the surface, they came over this time to ask Meng Quan for the medicinal pills, but in reality, they were robbing him by force. If Meng Quan did not give them the medicinal pills, the 3 of them would have to have a good talk with Meng Quan. Dong! 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 How could Meng Quan not know what Nando the Venerable and the others were thinking? His right hand lightly tapped on the seat beneath him, and he did not speak. For a moment, the scene became somewhat awkward. After about 4 or 5 minutes, Meng Quan said, "You must be joking. I'm just a 9th-level alchemist. How can I have any life-saving pills? If that's the case, Brother Meng doesn't want to give us the pills." In an instant, the air in the entire area seemed to freeze. Southern Dipper the Venerable and the others unleashed their auras and pressed down on Meng Quan. The scene of 3 half-step heavenly sovereigns working together to test the pressure on Meng Quan was terrifying. Sizzle! Meng Quan did not feel any pressure, even though he was 1 against 3. Meng Quan might only be a half-step heavenly sovereign, but his soul energy had reached the pinnacle of 9th level. Meng Quan was still able to deal with the 3 of them with ease. Meng Quan, you're trying to rebel. Seeing that he couldn't suppress Meng Quan, Southern Dipper the Venerable reprimanded. We're here to exchange tactics, but you're treating us like this. What are your intentions? Meng Quan, if you continue to do this, I'll... Shido the Venerable said coldly. Pa! Before Shido the Venerable could finish his sentence, Meng Quan's hands tore through the void and appeared beside him in the blink of an eye. He raised his right hand and slapped Shido the Venerable's cheek. A crisp sound resounded. Shido the Venerable was stunned on the spot, with his mouth wide open. Meng Quan was a half-step heavenly sovereign, and so was he. Why didn't he react when Meng Quan slapped him? Not only was Shido the Venerable shocked, but even the Southern Dipper and Northern Dipper Venerables were dumbfounded. They came here to denounce Meng Quan, but in the end, they failed and were taught a lesson by Meng Quan. How intolerable! Meng Quan, how dare you? Are you trying to rebel? Southern Dipper, the Venerable, coldly barked. I'm sorry, I'm not targeting anyone. I just wanted to say. As he spoke, Meng Quan briefly paused before he continued. Everyone else here is trash. You're courting death. Arrogant. Meng Quan's public ridicule made the Southern Dipper venerable and the rest furious. Although Meng Quan was powerful, no one knew who would win if they fought. Furthermore, this was the base of the Eastern Route Army, so the Eastern Route Army would definitely be affected if they fought here. I'm sorry I misspoke. Since you guys want the life-saving elixir, it's not impossible. Meng Quan smiled and said, Mu Ping, Mu Hua, the two of you come here. Buzz! Buzz! Along with Meng Quan's words, the space in the hall suddenly tore apart and two silhouettes appeared. Without a doubt, the two of them were Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Give the three of you some of the elixirs that I've given you guys previously. Meng Quan waved his hand. Don't be stingy. After all, the Southern Dipper Venerable and the rest are leading the charge. The longer they can last, the less danger we'll face. No problem. Mu Hua and Mu Ping were smart. They took out a few interspatial pouches and tossed them to the Southern Dipper Venerable and the rest. Crack! Looking into the interspatial pouches, the Southern Dipper Venerable and the rest gritted their teeth. Trash elixirs. The best elixirs in the interspatial pouches were only at the 8th grade, but there were also many 4th and 5th grade elixirs. They were all quasi-heavenly sovereigns, so these elixirs were useless to them. Meng Quan, are you determined to go against us? The Southern Dipper Venerable solemnly said, Today you have to report. Suddenly, a voice resounded from outside the hall. Come in. Meng Quan faintly said. Not long after, a 5th grade Earth Sovereign entered the hall and respectfully said, Leader, someone wants to see Mu Hua and Master Mu Ping. MHM? Who wants to see them? Meng Quan knitted his brows. It's the black-faced man and the long-haired man. The 5th grade Earth Sovereign respectfully said that they borrowed a large amount of Earth Dragon Grass from the Western Route Army and want to hand it over to Mu Hua and Master Mu Ping. Earth Dragon Grass? Chapter 1471. Chapter 1471. Acting at the same time in the Eastern Army, the long-haired man and Ning Yu were stopped in a corner, and there were people guarding them. There were many people in the Eastern Army, and the long-haired man's group rarely came in contact with the outside world since they usually followed Mu Hua and Mu Ping. Before they left, Mu Hua gave the long-haired man a token. However, the token was lost in the process of fighting with Ning Yu, so they could only wait here to be notified. Fortunately, someone recognized the Earth Dragon Grass. Otherwise, they might think that Ning Yu and the rest were liars. The security here is indeed tight. Ning Yu closed his eyes tightly and released his perception slightly, wanting to explore the surroundings. However, Ning Yu's perception had only taken a few steps when he hurriedly retracted it. That's because Ning Yu realized that the Eastern Army was simply a tiger's den, not to mention mortal sovereigns. Even Earth Sovereigns and advanced Earth Sovereigns wouldn't be able to take a single step here. Could it be that the elites of the 100 Flowers Palace are gathered here? Ning Yu muttered, The two of you, come with me. At this moment, a 5th grade Earth Sovereign walked over and said, Go to the hall, the leader wants to see you. The leader wants to see us? Ning Yu was shocked in his heart. The leader of the Eastern Army was a quasi-heavenly sovereign, so why would he want to see him? Ning Yu's thoughts became active. Could it be that he had been exposed? The more he thought about it, the more Ning Yu felt that it was possible. Otherwise, the long-haired man wouldn't have lost his token. Don't talk nonsense. Just leave when I tell you to. The 5th grade Earth Sovereign coldly said, Don't talk too much when you see the leader. Just answer whatever the leader asks. Right? Don't say that you borrowed the earth dragon grass from the Western Army. Otherwise, the leader will be unhappy. This fifth-grade Earth Supreme expert was quite nice and reminded them. After all, the Shido Venerable was in the hall. So if Ningyu said that the earth dragon grass was borrowed from the Western Army, it would definitely embarrass Meng Quan. Thank you. Ningyu thanked him and did not say anything else. Since he was already here, he might as well take things as they came. It was impossible for him to leave now. He could only go to the main hall to take a look and wait for an opportunity. Whoosh! Not long after, Ningyu and the others stopped in front of a large hall. You guys can go in. Remember, be smart. Some things can be said, and some things are better left unsaid. The fifth-grade Earth Sovereign pointed at the door of the palace and said, "It's best to give the Earth Dragon grass to leader immediately." Creak! Taking a deep breath, Ningyu pushed open the door of the palace. Whoosh! 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 Just as Ningyu pushed open the door, 5 pairs of eyes flew towards him. You could clearly sense that not only were there 5 gazes flying over, but there were also 5 powerful senses probing him and the long-haired man. Xiao! These senses probed for a full minute before withdrawing. I heard that you guys have borrowed the earth dragon grass from the Western Road Army. The first to speak was the Shido Venerable. His tone was calm without any emotions. Although his tone was calm, the Shido Venerable had unleashed his aura and violently pressured towards Ningyu and the long-haired man. Under the powerful pressure of the Shido Venerable, the long-haired man immediately knelt down. Crack! It was so much so that even his knees started to crack. Senior, although you're stronger than me, you can't speak without thinking. We did find the earth dragon grass, but we did not borrow it from the Western Road Army. Forcefully enduring the swelling pain coming from his knee, Ningyu said in a deep voice, "There's a secret cave in the forest not far from the Eastern Army. We went through untold hardships to find a lot of earth dragon grass in that cave. Why did you say that our earth dragon grass was borrowed from there?" "Humph, brat, you dare to speak to me in this manner." The Shido Venerable coldly snorted as he unleashed his aura once again and violently pressured Ningyu. Enough! Right at this moment, Meng Quan waved his hand, and a gentle and strong wind lifted Ningyu and the long-haired man up. Meng Quan, what's the meaning of this? The Shido Venerable's face was unsightly. He wanted to teach the long-haired man and the dark-skinned man a lesson. But who could have expected that Meng Quan would interfere? This matter had made him furious. Nothing much. I just wanted to tell you that this is the Eastern Road Army, and the dark-skinned man and the long-haired man before you are from the Eastern Road Army. Meng Quan faintly said. Not bad. Hearing Meng Quan's words, Ningyu let out a long breath. Fortunately, his disguise technique was superb. Otherwise, he would be in deep trouble if he was discovered by Meng Quan and the rest. Since Meng Quan and the rest did not discover that he was a fake dark-skinned man, then he would have a chance. Sweeping his gaze around, Ningyu could determine that the other 3 quasi-heavenly sovereigns should be the leaders of the other 3 armies. Judging from the situation, Meng Quan must have some conflict with them. Since that's the case, then he would have more space to move around, and his chances would also be greater. Meng Quan, everyone knows that only our Western Road Army has the Earth Dragon grass. You found 2 first-grade Earth sovereigns, and you claim that you found a large amount of Earth Dragon grass? Isn't that nonsense? The Shido Venerable solemnly said. Don't be anxious. Let them take out the Earth Dragon grass first, and see how much there is. The Nando Venerable was rather rational. Right, take out the Earth Dragon grass. I want to see how much you've borrowed from us. The corner of the Shido Venerable's lips rose as he eerily said, I want a 9th-grade Earth Sovereign for 1 Earth Dragon grass. Ning, you did not follow the Shido Venerable's words. Instead, he shifted his gaze towards Meng Quan to seek his opinion. When Meng Quan gently nodded his head, Ningyu took out the earth dragon grass from his interspatial pouch. 1 stalk, 2 stalks, 3 stalks. Every time Ningyu took out an earth dragon grass, no, an earth tiger grass that was similar to the earth dragon grass, the eyes of the Shido venerable and the rest would light up. In the beginning, Meng Quan did not have much of a reaction. After all, he was a 9th grade pinnacle alchemist, and he had seen many earth dragon grasses in his alchemy. However, when Ningyu took out the 20th stalk of earth dragon grass, Meng Quan was finally moved. So many earth dragon grasses were worth a lot of money. When Ningyu took out the 50th stalk of earth dragon grass, Meng Quan's eyes widened and he was a little dumbfounded. Meng Quan was confused. He had checked the nearby forest, and logically speaking, there shouldn't be so many earth dragon grasses. Where did these 2 first-grade earth sovereigns find so many earth dragon grasses? Could it be that they really borrowed them from the Western Road Army? The more Meng Quan thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. Chapter 1472. Chapter 1472. Chapter 1472. Earth-changing Pilning. You did not care about the astonished expressions of Meng Quan and the others. He continued to take out the earth dragon grass from his storage bag. This time, Ningyu's goal was to rescue the ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf. If he could attract Meng Quan's attention, that would be the best thing. A total of 80 earth dragon grasses. After a few minutes, Ningyu took out all the earth dragon grass from his storage bag. Pointing at the 80 stalks of earth dragon grass on the ground, Ningyu said, "Leader, please inspect them." Whoosh! Meng Shu's figure flickered, and in the blink of an eye, he appeared beside the earth dragon grass. Casually picking up an earth dragon grass, Meng Quan exerted a little force in his palm, and the earth dragon grass in his hand turned into nothingness. That's right, it is the earth dragon grass. Seeing this, Meng Quan nodded and said, "You have done well in this matter. Here are 2 9th realm medicinal pills as a reward." With a flick of his wrist, 2 medicinal pills flew out from Meng Quan's sleeve. One flew towards Ningyu, the other towards the long-haired man. Earth-changing pill. Catching the pill, the long-haired man revealed a shocked expression. The earth-changing pill was a top-notch pill even amongst the 9th grade pills. If an ordinary 1st grade Earth sovereign swallowed the earth-changing pill, there was a 50% chance of advancing to the 2nd grade Earth sovereign realm. Gotcha! The long-haired man didn't waste any time. He directly threw the changing earth pill into his mouth, sat down cross-legged, and began to refine it. "I can't believe it." The long-haired man's action stunned Ningyu. Although the earth-changing pill was special and of high quality, there was no need to consume it now, right? Buzz. As soon as the earth-changing pill entered his stomach, the long-haired man's body began to change. Wisps of black gas were continuously emitting from the forehead of the long-haired man. Ningyu knew very well that the black gas was the impurities in the long-haired man's body. As the black gas continued to gush out, the long-haired man's aura began to soar. Bang! About 5 minutes later, when a muffled sound came from the long-haired man's consciousness, the long-haired man's aura suddenly increased. 2nd grade Earth Supreme Realm. At this moment, the long-haired man's cultivation had risen from 1st grade Earth Sovereign to 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. "Thank you, leader." Sensing the changes in his consciousness, the long-haired man was overjoyed. He hurriedly thanked him and said, "When we attack Giant Shield City, I'll definitely charge at the forefront and kill the enemies for you." "All right, you may leave." Meng Quan waved his hand, indicating that the long-haired man could leave first. Yes, the long-haired man nodded, then turned around and walked out of the hall. Ning Yu moved his feet and followed behind the long-haired man, wanting to leave the hall. He can go, you stay. However, just as Ning Yu raised his right leg, Meng Quan's voice sounded out in the hall. Your 80 stalks of earth dragon grass have really helped me a lot. Tell me, what benefits do you want? This subordinate wouldn't dare. Ning Yu naturally didn't dare to act rashly in front of Meng Quan. He hurriedly said, These 80 stalks of earth dragon grass were sent by Mu Ping and Mu Hua. We're only completing the mission. Mu Ping and Mu Hua probably asked you to find the earth dragon grass to refine elixirs that can control the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves. How about this? I'll make the decision. After they refine the elixirs, I'll give you one. In other words, you can have 1 bloodthirsty mad wolf as your mount. Meng Quan said with a slight frown. Hearing this, Ning Yu revealed a terrified expression. He hurriedly waved his hand and said, This subordinate wouldn't dare. Those 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves belong to Mu Hua and Mu Ping. This subordinate won't. If I say you can, then you can. If you can't, then you can leave first. Meng Quan interrupted Ning Yu. Mu Hua, Mu Ping, after you're done refining the elixirs, give 1 to him. As he spoke, Meng Quan flicked his wrist, and 2 stalks of earth dragon grass flew towards Mu Hua and Mu Ping. Thank you, Master. After receiving the earth dragon grass, Mu Ping and Mu Hua exchanged a glance before leaving the hall with Ning Yu. In an instant, the hall turned silent once again. The Shido Venerable's face was extremely unsightly. If it wasn't for the Southern Dipper Venerable stopping him, he would have definitely snatched the earth dragon grass. 80 stalks of earth dragon grass was an extremely precious herb. The 3 quasi-heavenly sovereigns were determined to get a share of the loot no matter what. Rise! Regardless of what Shido the Venerable One and the others were thinking, Meng Quan waved his hands, causing a furnace to appear above him. What is he trying to do? Meng Quan's actions left the Shido Venerable dumbfounded. What else can he do? He even brought out his cauldron, so he must be trying to refine elixirs here. The Southern Dipper Venerable said, That's right, it should be my god. The Northern Dipper Venerable echoed. However, the Northern Dipper Venerable couldn't help cursing halfway through his words. He noticed that Meng Quan had thrown the remaining 78 stalks of earth dragon grass into the cauldron. The preciousness of the earth dragon grass didn't need them to explain. Meng Quan was using 78 stalks of earth dragon grass to refine elixirs, along with dozens of precious herbs. One could imagine how heaven-defying this batch of elixirs would be. Let's play by ear. Since Meng Quan was refining the elixirs, the Shido Venerable and the rest tactfully kept their silence. At this moment, even a fool could guess what they were thinking. When Meng Quan was done refining the elixirs, they would suddenly make a move and snatch the elixirs. An elixir refined with so many precious herbs was probably the best elixir to protect one's life. At the same time, in a small palace not far from the hall, the 2 masters, Mu Hua and Mu Ping, stood on both sides with Ning Yu and the long-haired man standing beside them. Next, we're going to start refining the elixirs. Your task is to stand guard for us. Mu Hua glanced at Ning Yu and the long-haired man, then said in a deep voice, We'll activate the palace's formation later. The long-haired man will guard outside the door, and the black-faced, burly man will guard inside. Before we finish refining the elixirs, don't let anyone in. The long-haired man hesitated and asked, What if the chief comes? Humph. Do you need me to teach you about this? Mu Hua scoffed. My master is a peak grade 9 elixir master. He knows that others can't be disturbed when they're refining elixirs. Otherwise, their efforts will go to waste. Got it. The long-haired man dared not delay and hurriedly left the small palace. Whoosh! Not long after the long-haired man left, Mu Hua and Mu Ping formed hand seals with both hands and activated the formation in the small palace. Don't worry. Master told us to give you an elixir, so we'll definitely give you one. Chapter 1473. Double Explosion. Thank you, masters. Ning Yu thanked him, then went straight to the door of the palace and stood there. Actually, Ning Yu wanted to laugh. The reason why his body was trembling just now was because he was excited, not because he was worried that he wouldn't get a share of the pills. The array that Mu Hua and Mu Ping had set up was practically tailor-made for Ning Yu. Ning Yu had observed it carefully. The defensive power of this array formation was very strong. Ordinary 9th grade initial Earth sovereigns wouldn't be able to barge in. Even a late phase 9th grade Earth sovereign would have to spend some effort to barge in. No one could barge in, which gave Ning Yu a chance. Begin. Mu Hua and Mu Ping didn't care too much about it. They just assumed that Ning Yu wouldn't be able to get the pill. Exchanging glances, Mu Ping and Mu Hua began to refine pills. Whoosh! Whoosh! They took out their pill furnaces at the same time and threw the first herb into the pill furnace. In the Eastern Army, their alchemy standards were second only to Mengquan. Normally, the two of them would compete with each other. This time, when refining the elixir, they were also competing to see who could refine the elixir first. Elder Yang, if the people of your Nebula Academy were to go all out, would you be able to subdue them? While Mu Hua and Mu Ping were refining pills, Ning Yu began to communicate with Yang Chang, trying to determine the difference in strength between the two sides. Yang Chang was an 8th grade Earth sovereign, the strongest expert of the Nebula Academy in the Ascension Tower. The chances are slim. After a brief pondering, Yang Chang said, "The two of them are pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereigns with powerful strength, unless..." Yang Chang did not continue speaking, because Yang Chang was very clear that the possibility was very low, basically impossible. Unless what? Ning Yu asked. Unless the two of them suffered heavy injuries and their strength dropped by 80%. Yang Chang replied, "The pills they concoct are of a very high level. If I'm not mistaken, even if they succeed, their auras will drop by a lot. At that time, do you have a way to kill them?" Ning Yu asked again. "No, even if their auras have dropped a lot, they are still very strong." Yang Chang shook his head. "Got it. I'll think of something," Ning Yu said. "Be careful. If you really can't handle it, don't expose yourself." After all, Mu Hua and Mu Ping were both pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereigns, so Yang Chang didn't want Ning Yu to mess around. Where there is life, there is hope. One wrong step, and every step after that was wrong. Thanks for the reminder. I know what to do. Ning Yu knew exactly what he was going to do next. Since Mu Hua and Mu Ping were competing to see who could refine the pill first, there would definitely be a problem. In fact, there was a high possibility that the pill refinement would fail. Once they failed, they would definitely have to go through the second round of refining. At that time, Ning Yu's possession of the Earth Dragon Grass would become a crucial factor. Fortunately, I left 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass behind. Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu's consciousness sank into the interspatial ring. "Ning, you didn't give all of the Earth Dragon Grass to Mengquan. There were still 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass in the interspatial ring." Ning Yu's goal was clear. He wanted to tamper with the 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass. Sapling law of space. Ning Yu went straight to the point without beating around the bush. "I want to deal with 2 pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereigns, and I need your help." "Tell me, what do you need us to do?" The sapling and the law of space floated in the interspatial ring, looking very satisfied. After devouring by Shield's energy, both the sapling and the law of space had received great benefits. Among them, the sapling directly advanced from 3rd grade Earth Sovereign to 5th grade Earth Sovereign, and its strength increased by several times. Its law of space also soared to 4th grade Earth Sovereign, and its strength could not be compared to before. After all, By Shield was a pinnacle 9th great Earth Sovereign, and the energy contained in his body was extremely terrifying. It's simple. You two enter the Earth Dragon Grass and help me deal with the two pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereigns. Ning Yu said. What? Hearing Ning Yu's words, the sapling and the law of space revealed shocked expressions. Was he joking? One of them was a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, and the other was a 4th grade Earth Sovereign. Asking them to deal with a pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereign was simply asking them to die. You didn't hear me? If you didn't hear me, I'll say it again. Ning Yu continued. Hold it, you didn't hear me? What are you trying to do by asking us to deal with a pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereign? The sapling was a little angry, and it rejected. I can do anything else, but this is out of the question. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. Comparatively speaking, the law of space had a good temper. But even if it had a good temper, the law of space wouldn't take the risk. Even if a pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereign stood there and let them attack him, there was no way they could win. Very well. Since you don't want to help, then I'll have to do it myself. Being rejected by the law of space and the sapling, Ning Yu wasn't angry. Instead, he said, but I'll say this first. If I'm killed by them later, the two of you won't be able to bear the consequences. The sapling and the law of space's faces darkened. In fact, what Ning Yu said was right. They were bound together, and if he was killed, they wouldn't have a good ending either. Tell me the specific plan. After thinking about it, the sapling and the law of space finally compromised. But before they promised Ning Yu, they still wanted to know the specific plan. They couldn't be ignorant. That's more like it. The corner of Ning Yu's mouth rose, and he began to explain the plan in detail. Chi. At the same time, Mu Ping and Mu Huo were racing against time to refine elixirs. In the blink of an eye, half an hour passed. Mu Huo and Mu Ping definitely wouldn't be able to refine elixirs in half an hour. Ha, Mu Huo, I might be one step ahead of you. Casually grabbing a medicinal herb and throwing it into the cauldron, Mu Ping laughed heartily. I've already completed the first stage. Next, I'll proceed to the second stage. With my current speed, I'll need at most 3 hours to successfully refine a medicinal pill. 3 hours? Humph. I'll only need 2 hours at most to refine the elixir. With a cold snort, Mu Huo waved his hands repeatedly, and all the soul force in his body swept out and entered the cauldron. Bang! The more anxious, the worse it would be. This sentence was very normal. Mu Huo's soul force had just entered the cauldron when something strange happened. A muffled sound rang out, and then Mu Huo's expression turned extremely ugly. Elixir explosion. Under normal circumstances, with Mu Huo's alchemy level, it was impossible for his elixir to explode. However, he and Mu Ping were in a bet, so he was a little eager for quick success. What? Your elixir exploded. Mu Huo's elixir explosion made the corners of Mu Ping's mouth curl up. He said sinisterly, You're finished this time. Wait obediently. In 3 hours I can bang. However, Mu Ping's words came to an abrupt halt halfway. A muffled sound rang out. Elixir explosion. Chapter 1474. Attack! Mu Huo's eyes widened when he saw Mu Ping explode his pill. Then he laughed maniacally. Ha. Mu Huo's laughter was a little unbridled, a little arrogant, and a little vindicated. Mu Ping had mocked him just now. Now, it was his turn to mock Mu Ping. Here's my chance. Ning Yu had been paying attention to Mu Huo and Mu Ping. When they both exploded their pills, Ning Yu's worry was slightly alleviated. To be honest, although Ning Yu thought they would explode their pills, he did not have much confidence in his heart. Now that they both exploded their pills, Ning Yu knew that his plan was progressing according to his imagination. Come here. As expected, Mu Ping fiercely glared at Mu Huo. Soon after, he waved his hand at Ningyu and said, "Our pill refinement has failed. Go to Master and ask if there's any extra Earth Dragon Grass." As he spoke, Mu Ping flicked his wrist, wanting to break the surrounding array. Seeing this, Ningyu was shocked and hurriedly said, "Master Mu Ping, actually I still have Earth Dragon Grass on me." What? Mu Ping's eyes widened when he heard Ningyu's words. His aura pressed towards Ningyu, and he said coldly, "You actually did not take out all the Earth Dragon Grass in the main hall. What are your intentions?" The powerful aura made Ningyu want to kneel. Swoosh! At the crucial moment, Ningyu felt another aura flying towards him. However, this time, the aura did not press down on Ningyu. Instead, it helped Ningyu resist Mu Ping's aura. "Mu Ping, since he still has Earth Dragon Grass on him, why don't we continue the pill refinement competition and see who can refine the pill first?" Mu Hua said coldly. "That's exactly what I was thinking." Mu Ping said solemnly, "This time, I will definitely refine the pill before you. Masters, I only have 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass left. You have to use them sparingly." Ningyu took out 2 stalks of Earth Dragon Grass and threw them at Mu Ping and Mu Hua. Pa! Pa! Firmly catching the Earth Dragon Grass, Mu Ping and Mu Hua did not hesitate, immediately beginning the second alchemy competition. "Very good. Follow the script." A smile appeared on the corner of Ningyu's mouth as he muttered, "Let's wait for a few more minutes." Chi-chi. This time Mu Ping and Mu Hua weren't in a hurry. From the very first step, they had been very attentive. He extracted the medicinal ingredients, compressed them, fused them, and formed a pill. Step by step, Mu Ping and the others proceeded smoothly and methodically. Time continued to pass. Ningyu was very patient. He was not in a hurry to communicate with the sapling and spatial laws. Only by communicating with the sapling and spatial laws after forming the pill would the success rate be very high. About 3 or 4 hours later, bang, bang, accompanied by 2 muffled sounds, the pill cauldrons in front of Mu Ping and Mu Hua opened their lids. Then 2 pills flew out from the 2 pill furnaces. Mu Ping and Mu Hua reacted quickly, grabbing the medicinal pills in their hands at the same time. "Not bad. I didn't expect your alchemy level to be so high. You can actually refine medicinal pills with me." Mu Ping glanced at the medicinal pills in Mu Hua's hands and said sinisterly, "I wonder what the quality of the medicinal pills you refined is like." "I refined a high-grade medicinal pill." As he spoke, Mu Ping opened his palm. A white elixir appeared in his palm. The white medicinal pill's quality had reached the high-grade level. "Sorry, the medicinal pill I refined has also reached the high-grade level." Mu Hua opened his palm. The medicinal pill in his palm had the same quality as the medicinal pill Mu Ping refined. "Haha, now that I've refined the medicinal pill, I can bring out the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves." Smiling faintly, Mu Ping grabbed at the void with his right hand. Crack! Suddenly, the void ruptured, and 2 huge light pillars shot out from the void. Within each light pillar was a bloodthirsty mad wolf. Looking at the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves that suddenly appeared, Ningyu could not help but clench his fists tightly. The ferocious mad wolf and the scarred mad wolf. These 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves were the ferocious mad wolves and the scarred mad wolves. However, their current conditions were clearly not optimistic. Their breathing was weak, and several of their bones and tendons were broken. "Why don't you give the medicinal pill in your hand to him?" Mu Ping looked at Mu Hua and said, "Your martial strength is slightly stronger than mine, so I definitely don't need a grade 7 Earth Supreme as a mount." "Nonsense. Why don't you hand over your medicinal pill?" Mu Hua said coldly, "Master only said to give 1 medicinal pill to him. He didn't give anyone's medicinal pill to him. Why should I?" "It's indeed a little troublesome." Mu Ping frowned slightly and said, "How about this? Let him take out another Earth Dragon Grass, Then we can work together to help him refine another medicinal pill. That's a good idea, I agree. Mu Hua nodded and said, let's control the bloodthirsty mad wolves first. We already agreed that I want the scarred mad wolf. No problem. I want the ferocious mad wolf, Mu Ping said. Attack! At the critical moment, Ningyu shouted. Swish! Ningyu's sudden shout stunned Mu Ping and Mu Hua. In that 1 second, the medicinal pills in their hands underwent a shocking change. Crack! Crack! The pills shattered, and 2 streaks of cold light shot towards their hearts at an extremely shocking speed. The speed of the cold light was very fast, extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, the cold rays arrived before Mu Ping and Mu Hua, just inches away from their hearts. Uft! Uft! At the critical moment, Mu Ping and Mu Hua hurriedly dodged to the side, barely dodging the fatal attack. That was close. After dodging the fatal attack, Mu Ping and Mu Hua let out a long sigh of relief. If it wasn't for their powerful soul perception, they would have died long ago. Who are you? Mu Ping pointed at his chest a few times and said coldly, Why did you trespass here? Haha. Ningyu smiled faintly, and with a shake of his body, he transformed into his true form. Ningyu, it's you. Seeing Ningyu reveal his true form, the ferocious mad wolf and the scarred mad wolf shouted, You're Ningyu? Hearing this, Mu Ping and Mu Hua's eyes flashed with a frightening light. They already knew what had happened at the gates of Giant Shield City. Ningyu was a ferocious person who even dared to take the attack of a Sky Supreme powerhouse head-on. That's right, I'm Ningyu. Ningyu nodded. You have a chance to live now. Submit to me. As long as you choose to submit to me, I can spare your lives. You want us to submit to you. Mu Ping and Mu Hua seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. They laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, who do you think you are? Even if we're injured, killing you is as easy as pie. Is that so? Why don't you look behind you? Chapter 1475. Chapter 1475. Chapter 1475 Uniform. Humph! No matter how extravagant your words are, you won't be able to escape death today. Mu Ping coldly snorted. He did not believe Ningyu. They had already set up a spiritual array around the palace, so even a 9th grade Earth Sovereign wouldn't be able to sneak in. Ningyu was asking them to look behind them. He was clearly trying to divert their attention so that the driver could escape. In the eyes of Mu Ping and the others, those 2 beams of cold light were Ningyu's trump cards. Ningyu's heart must be flustered that he was unable to kill them even after using his trump card. With Ningyu's current state, even if they were injured, he could still easily kill them. Sai, what's wrong with this world? Why doesn't anyone believe the truth? Mu Ping and Mu Hua's reactions caused Ningyu to sigh. He muttered, Don't blame me for not warning you when you get killed. Ha ha ha. Mu Ping threw his head back and laughed wildly. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Puchi. Halfway through his maniacal laughter, Mu Ping abruptly spat out a mouthful of crimson blood. His body flew forward in a straight line. Kacha! The immense force from his back caused Mu Ping to lose his footing, causing him to fall straight to the ground, face first. Who is it? The sudden change caused Mu Hua's expression to change drastically. He looked around cautiously and said in a deep voice, Come out if you have the ability. Don't sneak around in the void. As you wish. In the next moment, the space beside Mu Hua split open, and then Yang Chang's indifferent voice resounded. 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Mu Hua's face instantly turned cold when he saw Yang Chang suddenly appear. Although he and Mu Ping were both pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereigns, they've suffered heavy injuries, and their strength wasn't even 50% of their peak. In their current state, it was very difficult for them to be Yang Chang's match. Quick! Break the array and find a way to notify Master. I'll stop this 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Mu Hua's expression was solemn as he sent a soul message to Mu Ping. No matter what, we must capture them alive today. No problem. Mu Ping knew the severity of the situation. He nodded, then waved his hands and unleashed a technique to break the formation. The sapling and the law of space. If you don't act now, when will you? At this critical moment, Ningyu shouted, Voila! As Ningyu shouted, the void beside Mu Ping suddenly split open. Xiu! Xiu! The sapling and the law of space shot out in unison. In front of them, 2 dazzling flames flickered continuously. Myriad bone flame, myriad beast flame, before the sapling and the law of space entered the earth dragon grass. Ningyu had given them the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame for safekeeping so that he could use them at a critical moment. Only like this could they deal a fatal blow to Mu Ping and the others. After all, Mu Ping and Mu Hua were both pinnacle 8th grade Earth Sovereigns, and their soul energies had also reached initial 9th grade Earth Sovereign. To deal with martial artists like them, they had to be dealt with in one fell swoop. They could not be given any chance to make a comeback. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles in the future. Retreat quickly. Mu Hua's senses and reactions were fast. As soon as the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame appeared, he shouted, those 2 flames are in the top 30 of the mystical flames ranking. Don't let them touch you. You can't even protect yourself right now, and you still want to help others. The corner of Yang Chang's mouth rose. Then he waved his hand and said, Come out, all of you. Let's join forces again and teach them a lesson. Swish, swish, swish. In the next instant, the void split open and several figures emerged. These figures were all 7th grade Earth Sovereigns. They were the elites of Nebula Academy. Yang Chang was at the front, and the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns were behind him. While Mu Hua was distracted, they suddenly launched an attack in an attempt to finish him off as soon as possible. Rumble! A great battle broke out. Mu Hua struggled to hold on. Damn it! Mu Hua cursed inwardly. He had no choice but to withdraw his senses and turn around to fight Yang Chang and the others. Poof! On the other side, Mu Ping's clothes were charred black after the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beasts flame closed in on him. Let's attack together. With the red demon sword in hand, Ningyu was the first to charge at Mu Ping. With the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beasts flame restraining Mu Ping could only display 1% of his peak strength. In this state, Ningyu could kill Mu Ping in a one-on-one fight, let alone when Ningyu, the sapling, and the law of space worked together. Poof! 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 Under the joint attack of Ningyu and the sapling, Mu Ping continuously coughed up blood. Every time Mu Ping coughed up blood, his aura dropped a little. In the end, Mu Ping directly fell to the ground, his aura extremely weak. A peak 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Not bad, not bad. The sapling and the law of space stared at Mu Ping with great excitement. The sapling was a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, while the law of space was a 4th grade Earth Sovereign. According to their speculations, as long as they could devour Mu Ping, their strength would increase. Although a peak 8th grade Earth Sovereign didn't contain as much energy as a peak 9th grade Earth Sovereign, it was still very good. If Mu Ping wasn't an idiot, how could they capture a peak 8th grade Earth Sovereign? Don't be in such a hurry to devour them. I still have use for them. How could Ningyu not know what the sapling and the law of space were thinking? He said in a deep voice, What you need to do now is to capture Mu Hua together with Elder Yang. I can make the decision to hand over all their treasures and elixirs to you. Deal. The sapling and the law of space were very shrewd. Only when Ningyu said this did they move their gazes away from Mu Ping. Moreover, The sapling said righteously, "We are on the same side. Even if you didn't say anything, we would have taken the initiative to deal with Mu Hua." "That's right. We have always been reasonable. Now, you just stay here and watch, waiting for our triumphant return." The law of space seemed to be a practical person. As soon as he finished speaking, he directly flew out and joined the battle on the other side. "Wait for me, Mu Ping. Wait for me." Seeing the law of space join the battle, the sapling roared and rushed out, afraid that Ningyu would laugh at him if he was late. The sapling and the law of space's actions made Ningyu's face dark, but their willingness to help saved Ningyu a lot of trouble. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu moved to Mu Ping's side and said, "What I said just now is still valid. As long as you submit to me, I can spare your life." "Bah!" Mu Ping spat on the ground and said coldly, "I'll tell you the truth. I left a strange poison in the bodies of those two bloodthirsty berserk wolves. If you dare do anything to me, I guarantee that they will die a horrible death." "You're threatening me." Ningyu's expression didn't change much. He said indifferently, "I have a special characteristic. I can be persuaded by reason, but not cowed by force. Since you don't know what's good for you, then I'm sorry, I can only send you to the next world." Chapter 1476. Chapter 1476. Chapter 1476. Help perish together? Sorry, but in front of me, you won't even have the chance to perish together with me. Ningyu's lips curled upwards as he continued. "The two flames beside you are the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame. They are ranked 29th and 30th on the mysterious flames ranking. As long as you want to self-detonate, they will immediately attack and devour you." Mu Ping did not speak. Instead, his expression darkened. The main reason why he didn't think of a way to leave was because of the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame. The 10,000 bone flame and 10,000 beast flame surrounded him like sticky candy. Every time he moved, the myriad bone flame and the myriad beast flame would shoot out a blazing cold light towards him. Even if he was a pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereign with his soul energy reaching the initial phase of the 9th grade Earth sovereign realm, he was helpless before the flames. Think about it. Submitting to me won't do you any harm. On the contrary, it will improve your alchemy skills. Ningyu shrugged his shoulders. Although your cultivation is at the pinnacle 8th grade Earth sovereign realm, your soul energy is only at the initial phase of the 9th grade Earth sovereign realm, so it's not too powerful. If you submit to me, I can find an alchemist whose soul energy has reached the level of liquid to teach the two of you. Transforming gas into liquid? Are you sure you're not messing with me? Mu Ping was a little confused. Ningyu's soul force was only at the peak of the 8th grade. How could he find an alchemist whose soul force had reached the level of liquefying qi? "All right, I promise you." After pondering for a moment, Mu Ping said, "As long as you can find an alchemist whose soul force has reached the level of liquefaction, I will submit to you." "Words are no proof. You have to swear a heavenly law oath," Ningyu said. "No problem. However, you must also swear a heavenly law oath that you must find the alchemist within 3 minutes. Otherwise, you'll have to let me go," Mu Ping said coldly. "Hee deal." Ningyu smiled, then his consciousness sank into the tower of Yuzuan. "Jin Yi, there's something I need your help with." Ningyu did not waste words with Jin Yi, directly saying, "Display the strength of your soul force. Let Mu Ping see." Humph. Although Jin Yi was unwilling, under Ningyu's pressure, she could only fly out of the Yuzuan pagoda and float in front of Mu Ping. Boom! The strength of his qi to liquid soul power was suddenly displayed, crazily pressing down on Mu Ping. Ka-ka! Under the pressure of this frightening soul force, Mu Ping's knees made cracking sounds, and he could not help but kneel on the ground. You can really find a ninth-grade alchemist who can liquefy qi. Mu Ping was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Even in the Pill Creation Continent's Alchemy Union, alchemists whose soul power was strong enough to liquefy were rare. Their master, Meng Quan, had a very high position in the Alchemy Union, but the strength of his soul force was only at the level of transforming qi into liquid. You swore an oath to the heavens. Ning, you didn't care about Mu Ping's reaction. He reminded, I want you to open your mind as soon as possible and let me control you. Mu Ping was silent, not relaxing his mind. You want him to submit to you? Jin Yi looked at Mu Ping and then looked at Ningyu. She said, there's no need to speak so much nonsense. I can use my soul force to suppress him, and then you can leave a trace of soul force in his sea of consciousness. One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Speak. What exactly do you want? Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, Of course I want you to let me go. Jin Yi didn't beat around the bush and said directly, I am the chief alchemist of the Jin clan. I have been missing for so long. The Jin clan will definitely be worried. You are like a clay bodhisattva crossing the river. You can't even protect yourself. Yet you still want to worry about the Jin clan. Ningyu said, One price if you help me control Mu Ping. I can let you move freely in the first few floors of the Yuzuan pagoda. Deal. Jin Yi hurriedly said, afraid that Ningyu would go back on his words. Actually, Jin Yi wasn't an idiot. She knew that Ningyu definitely wouldn't agree to let her go. So when Ningyu said that she could move freely, she immediately expressed her agreement. After all, being cooped up in the 9th floor for a long time, it was hard to not feel a little uneasy. If she could fight for a chance to move freely, Jin Yi definitely wouldn't give it up. What do you want to do? Jin Yi agreeing to Ning, you made things difficult for Mu Ping. Originally, Mu Ping was still planning to find a chance to leave, but now that Jin Yi had joined, he directly gave up. Under the pressure of Jin Yi's powerful soul force, Mu Ping's mind was completely relaxed. Swoosh! Ningyu seized the opportunity and directly separated out a trace of soul force, stealthily entering Mu Ping's consciousness sea. Thinking about it, Ningyu separated out a trace of soul force, stealthily entering Mu Ping's consciousness sea. Controlling the consciousness sea, according to reason, could make Mu Ping feel apprehensive, but Ningyu had to make preparations. After all, if his consciousness sea shattered, Mu Ping wouldn't die, but if his heart exploded, Mu Ping would definitely die. You! Feeling the soul force appearing in his consciousness sea and heart, Mu Ping's eyes widened, his face filled with despair. You what you? Ningyu rolled his eyes. Go help me deal with Mu Hua. Make Mu Hua submit to me. Otherwise, I will let you know why flowers are so red. Ka. Mu Ping clenched his fists, not following Ningyu's instructions. Puchi. However, Mu Ping was quickly punished. Ningyu circulated the soul force in his consciousness sea, causing him to feel a pain like his consciousness sea was about to explode. I'll go. Mu Ping couldn't bear the pain in his consciousness sea. He could only say, I will help you deal with Mu Hua. That's more like it. Ningyu gave up on circulating the soul force in Mu Ping's consciousness sea. As long as you listen to me obediently, I guarantee you won't suffer. Like I'll believe you, Mu Ping viciously said in his heart. I'll feign civility first. As long as there's a chance, I will immediately kill you. Shua. Thinking like this, Mu Ping didn't dare to show it on his face. He stomped on the ground, charging straight at Mu Hua. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and help. Ningyu glanced at Jin Yi and said, You're helping me right now to atone for the crimes of the Jin clan. Otherwise, I'll kill my way into the Jin clan and eradicate it. With just you, even if you cultivate for a few hundred years, you still won't be able to eradicate the Jin clan. Jean E curled her lips, moving her feet, joining the other side of the battlefield. Originally, Mu Hu couldn't hold on. Now that Mu Ping and Jean E joined the battle, he couldn't hold on anymore. Although Mu Ping's battle strength wasn't very strong, Jean Yi's battle strength was shocking. In just a few minutes, Mu Hua was defeated. It was the same scenario. Jean E controlled Mu Hua. Ningyu used his soul force, leaving it in Mu Hua's consciousness sea and heart. Ningyu, do you mean what you said? Just when Ningyu controlled Mu Ping and Mu Ping, the sapling and the law of space flew over. We want Mu Ping and Mu Hua's magical treasures and pellets. Since the sapling and the law of space had reached the 5th and 4th grade Earth sovereign realms, they concealed their auras. If he had known this would happen, he definitely wouldn't have given the sapling and the law of space so easily. Puff! Puff! Right at this moment, the ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the scar-faced, bloodthirsty mad wolf spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time, their faces turning pale. The only difference was that the blood spat out by the ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others was not red, but black. It was clear that the world's poison in their bodies had been forcefully forced out by Jean E. Phew! After forcing out the world's poison, Jean E let out a long sigh of relief. That was close. Fortunately, her soul power had reached the level of liquefaction. Otherwise, she would have died without a doubt if she came into contact with the world's poison with her current strength. Let me enter the Tower of Yuzuan. Jean E looked at Ningyu and said coldly, "Remember what you said. I can freely enter and exit the first few floors of the Tower of Yuzuan." "Don't worry, I'm a man of my word." Ningyu waved his sleeve and a cold light shot out from the Tower of Yuzuan, sucking Jean E inside. After doing all this, Ningyu put away the Tower of Yuzuan and fell into deep thought. The reason why Ningyu did not bother with the ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others was because he was having a headache. It was still the same question from before. Just how could he leave the Eastern Army? Grandmasters. Just as Ningyu was deep in thought, outside the small palace, the long-haired man said in a clear voice, "The leader wants you to go to the main hall. He says he has something important to do." Shua. Mu Ping and Mu Hu did not immediately reply to the long-haired man. Instead, they looked at Ningyu, wanting to seek Ningyu's approval. "Open the array, go." Although Ningyu was very unwilling to go, he still said in a low voice, "When you get there, you should know what to say and what not to say." Ningyu was not afraid that Mu Ping and the others would play any tricks. After all, he had left some soul power in their sea of consciousness and heart. As long as they dared to have any crooked thoughts, Ningyu would definitely not spare them. "Open." Mu Ping waved his hands repeatedly and then suddenly blasted out, "Kacha!" Following Mu Ping's shout, the array let out a clear cracking sound, but it did not break. Ningyu was very clear that this situation was inevitable. If the array could be broken so easily, Mu Ping and Mu Hu would have acted earlier and would not have waited until now. "Kacha! Kacha! Kacha!" A full 3 minutes passed. With every passing minute, a cracking sound came from all around. 3 minutes later, 3 cracking sounds rang out. The array around the small palace was finally broken. What about them? Although the array was broken, Mu Ping and Mu Hu were not in a hurry to leave. Instead, they pointed to the ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf and said, "Should we bring them over together?" "Bring them. When the time comes, just say that the 2 elixirs were handed over to me. These 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves are now listening to my orders." Ningyu thought about it and said, "Anyway, when we get to the main hall and see Meng Quan, there are some things that can be said and some things that cannot be said." "We know that." Mu Ping and Mu Hua exchanged glances, and then moved, leaving the small palace. Let's go too. Ningyu smiled at the ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others and said, "When we get to the main hall, don't say anything. Just act according to my signal." Understood. The ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf were not fools. They knew that this place was very dangerous. Only by following closely behind Ningyu and obeying Ningyu's orders could they survive. Otherwise, they would not even know how they died. You guys! At the entrance of the small palace, the long-haired man looked at Mu Ping and Mu Hua, then at Ningyu and the ferocious, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others, asking hesitantly what happened. "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask," Ningyu said coldly. "Why did Meng Quan call Mu Hua and Mu Ping? Tell me." "I'm not sure either. It seems that the other 3 armies have genius alchemists who came over and want to compete with our Eastern army in alchemy." The long-haired man did not dare to be negligent and said hurriedly. After all, the long-haired man's life was in Ningyu's hands. As long as Ningyu willed it, he would die without a doubt. Therefore, Ningyu's questions still had to be answered at the first possible moment. "These Emperor-grade essence crystals are for you. Go and spread some rumors in the Eastern Army. When necessary, you have to expose this matter. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.